We come to you in the heart of wine country, where more than grapes are on the line. Drivers will take their turns around the beautiful Sonoma Speedway here in the heart of California's cultural valley with one goal: walk away with not only a giant bottle of wine, but with bragging rights and the chance to sit on top of the pylon and check your box or check into the chase by the end of the season. Which driver will do it? We'll find out in so many laps or so. You're watching HTL Cup Series action live here on ABN1 as we take round 4 from Sonoma Speedway in Sonoma, California. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Cortez. Kevin Young, by my side as always, Kristina Ryan pushing the buttons behind the scenes to make it all work. And Kevin, this is the first test that these drivers are going to have on a road course. It's going to make for some very entertaining scenes.
You are correct, 100% indeed there. Obviously, it's going to be 63 laps you're going to see when we go to race day, but obviously we have qualifying and a warm-up before that. But this is the first of, I believe, 5 road courses. Could be 4, could be 3, but somewhere, at least there's a couple more that these drivers will have to navigate around throughout this season. So it's a good test for these drivers, kind of get a feel of how to left and right, and maybe for some drivers that may be better at road courses than ovals, this is a good opportunity for those drivers maybe to get a chance to punch their way in and fight for the playoffs without having to worry about the ovals. So we'll take a quick look at the weather here. Temperature is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity of 1, a wind of southwest 10 miles an hour, a lot less wind than we saw last week at Las Vegas, so it's good to see the wind calm down. But more importantly, it's a very overcast, gloomy day here. Seeing a lot of sun popping out of these clouds.
This is the first of 3 road courses these drivers will be facing this season. The first one, of course, here at Sonoma Raceway. The second one will be at Suzuka Circuit, the East Coast, or the East Course, I should say, on July 15th for the HTL Japan 200. And their final time taking left and rights will be September 23rd at Watkins Glen International. Bianca Constantinou was the winner at Watkins Glen, and she is highly favored to take away the win tonight.
Yeah, that Watkins Glen race is in the playoffs, so that is worth noting on that front. That is going to be a very interesting race. And again, a race where if you punch your ticket here today, obviously Constantino we saw last year clock her way into the playoffs and got a win at an oval, didn't get a win on a road course to clinch her way into the Final Four, but definitely used those road courses to get herself into the playoffs and then use that opportunity to keep going. So it's a situation where just knowing how to run, knowing how to go left and right can play you a great factor here. So obviously we've seen some drivers hit the top front, some drivers filling in that also know how to do road courses. So we'll have to see how this all plays out if anyone can stop the odds-on favorite Constantino coming into tonight.
I was about to mention that. We have 2 other ringers that are right now on top of the practice field. Rudy Valentine in the number 4 machine for Tombstone Motorsports, taking the reins from Zach Apperson this week, and Emma Kruger, who is also a fill-in driver. She will be taking the reins for the number 21 machine, usually driven by Unforgiven's Marcus Chafin. So 2 fill-ins on top right now. Joshua Gaiman and Tommy Reynolds, the regulars here in the series, rounding out your top 5. A driver we will not hear from is John Hagan. He is parked for a week after his extracurricular activities last week. So we will not be seeing him tonight. That seat will be filled in by Tommy Reynolds, the rookie driver for Arrowhead Racing. And we're still trying to figure out who is going to drive the 71 tonight. Lily Peltelier-Sharp will not be on track. We have not been notified of her replacement, so we will see if the 71 will get out of the hauler at all.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Obviously, that 71 is a strong car, so definitely whoever the driver is that may pile that. If they are here, if they are not, will definitely be a strong driver to keep an eye out for. But kind of go over some of those road course ringers. Obviously, Tommy Reynolds, he has that win from the Daytona 500 just a couple weeks ago, going to full-time status in a little bit after May, but obviously gets a chance to kind of get his feet wet here tonight. Still in a bit of a part-time status here, and obviously you see him driving the John Hagan 44 machine. Obviously, when he goes full-time, he'll be riding his own colors and his own sponsorships, even though he likes a sponsorless machine. But other than that, though, looking at some of the other drivers you were mentioning there, Joe, Rudy Valentine being through in the ABN High Performance Series, did a couple good runs there, and as well Emma Kruger, who won, worth noting, the A² Cup Series race at Sonoma a couple weeks back as well. Very good road course ringer herself. So a bunch of drivers we have to keep an eye on for. As you can see, that 28 car parked in an interesting spot, as our producer kind of pointed out there. So very little trickery devil that car was there. But anyway, though, a lot of strong drivers in the field, and even can't count out Josh Gaiman, who's always good at road courses, and DJ Trout, who shocked the world about a year ago in the HTL Truck Series, winning that race at the Daytona RC. So definitely a driver that's going to take this opportunity and run.
A lot of drivers trying to take their opportunities tonight, call their shots, and get into the chase, the HTL playoffs, which are set to begin in just about 2 months from now. August 26th is the All-Star race before we go racing into the playoffs. And as you mentioned, Watkins Glen is going to be one of those playoff races. So tonight could have some implications. It could be a preview for that race and who's going to be able to make a strong impact on the playoffs when we get there.
Yeah, and that road course, I believe, is a cut-off round, as it's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So it is a cut race. So that could also be a situation where if a Rudy Valentine or a Bianca Constantinu or another driver can get that win, they can maybe use it and they can get past that first round, they can get to that second round and carry it out. But anyway, warm-up has officially concluded here, or I should say practice, and we are going to get ready for qualifying, which is going to be a bit different than you usually see. Joe, why don't you explain what's different with the road course qualifying?
Thank you, Kevin. So instead of one car going out doing one lap, it's going to be group qualifying, as you would see in other series around the world. All the drivers will have 20 minutes to go through qualifying. They can take as many laps as they want. They can partner with as many people as they want to. But at the end of the day, they're only going to get one shot at qualifying. And making this even more interesting, I don't know if we can take the helicopter view here as we watch Constantino go across the track. It's getting a little hazy out there. You're starting to see a fog settling on the track here, which is going to lower visibility for the drivers.
Yeah, 100% indeed. It feels like we're in Okinawa City or the Silent Hill Games location right now with how foggy it is. Honestly, I don't even think we can tell who those two cars at the moment, but luckily Kristina's got the little graphic there to show that's the 57 of Bianca Constantinu. That's a little bit better of an angle there. So we're not going to be able to use some of our fancy cameras here that I know Kristina's itching to use, as it's going to be very foggy and a bit hard to see. Hopefully it clears out by race time, but at the very least, we'll see if this fog maybe plays a bit of a factor with these drivers' visibility and how much depth they may not be able to see. So these drivers are definitely going to be a bit cautious, make sure they hit their marks, but obviously being professionals, they should be able to kind of navigate still if they know how to drive around here.
It's a two-wheel track with 10 turns. It's a older version of this track, as Constantino now is going to slow down, let some drivers out of the way before she takes her laps. Other drivers now just crossing the start-finish line for the first time, about ready to start putting their times on the line. We're watching Constantino now, trying to figure out where she's going to be. One of the international injuries tonight. A lot of other drivers now. Lilac Zier, Rudy Valentine, one of the replacement drivers tonight, and a bunch of others crossing the line for the first time, seeing where they can put their machine on the grid.
Indeed, and obviously 20 minutes is a long time, but looking at a lap time being about an average of a minute and some change, you only get, give or take, doing some quick math here, about 7-8 attempts at it before you kind of have to call it a quick qualifying. And we saw Constantinu kind of back it up there because she wanted to make sure she got a good run and a clean track here. But right now you can see Seth Wansing just up the road here. And this is kind of the risk of group qualifying per se, because usually during one-shot quali or two-car quali, like we usually see, there's that point where you have the track all to yourself so you can hit your points. But here, if you get caught behind a car here, it can help you get a little bit of a tow down some straights, get some drag, some slipstream. But you can see Constantinu kind of letting up here, as she may have had invalidation, or at the very least maybe didn't feel comfortable with the run she had. She's going to back it up and try it again rather than end up junking it and make sure she's got a point. So we'll cut on the Rudy Valentine, who looks like they are on the fast track putting down a fast lap.
Once again, you have 20 minutes out here, so there's no rush. There's no urgency to take your qualifying lap. You have plenty of time to go out. If you want to run with a teammate, you can. If you want to run by yourself, you can. There's no urgency whatsoever. As long as you get one lap in within the 20 minutes, you will be good to go. First qualifying times coming in now. Tommy Reynolds has the provisional pole, 117 around this 2-mile track with 10 turns. Seth Wansing, Chad Swatsworth, Rudy Valentine, and Selena Thompson, who didn't take a practice lap, will conditionally be position number 5. Check that. It'll be Ruby Nakamata, another one of the fill-in drivers tonight, who's going to be in the top 5, but positionally in the top 5.
A very interesting name for that driver there in question. Obviously going to have the cat spirit, maybe have the claws of the cat ready to try to strike to get a good spot here as we now follow Ruby Nakamata, trying to get some good laps here in that #1 machine. Obviously, though, we see as she gets a big old mount on that curb there. Almost looked like she was going to the Monster Jam circuit there. But this is where it gets kind of interesting, as you got to be smooth and methodical, but also not be against taking chances here. And obviously, for a lot of these drivers that went around like Reynolds, Wygent, Wanzinger, top 3, they put down a good banker lap. So now they're going to be in the mindset of, all right, I can use the next 15 minutes to kind of just do what I want to do. But as the time ticks down, the clock gets shorter and shorter and shorter. At what point in the driver's mind do you just say, all right, I got to put down a banker lap and then we can kind of say it? Or do you just go to the end and just say, do whatever you want to do? Because the risk of not putting down a good time, like Constantino right now who's sitting 13th, is starting further in the back, and knowing how road courses can be with their low caution rate, it can be really bad to try to get yourself back up towards the front if you're in that situation.
No, actually just turned in a time 1:16.631. That moves her up to position 13. Now to position number 4. Meanwhile, up top, we have a new pole sitter, the 7 of Nikamata. The Cat Spirit is with her as she turns in a qualifying time of 1:16.089. That'll put her above Tommy Reynolds and Casey Wygent for the time being. Seth Wansing sitting in 4th, the NFG Motorsports driver in that Napa Toyota Camry. Sitting in 4th right now as we follow along with Jeremy Brault, the Dr. Pepper machine. A very appropriate scheme for Jeremy as the 27 goes spinning away.
That is an Austin Mongold, knowing his love for the sugary Dr. Pepper and its 23 flavors. But as you can see right now, the 74 playing a good run here. Obviously, we know he's good at the super speedways, but don't count him a slouch on the road courses. He's usually one of those sneaky drivers that you see at the end of the day bringing up a top 5 or a top 10, ready to capitalize on other drivers' chaoses here. So you can see kind of going high and low, trying to find the braking point there to hope the car ahead doesn't impede. But all right, through the X here, and we'll see if Braille can improve. As he comes down the long straight here, going to get a little bit of help here from the car ahead. As he comes across the line, we'll flash the time. Does it improve? It looks like it did. No, it did not. It's going to be about 2/10 slower with a 1:17.461. So still P9 for the 74 machine.
Meanwhile, back up top, Rudy Valentin has picked up the pole. First driver to turn in a sub 1:16 time, 1:14.695 for the driver of the #4 machine. He is filling in tonight in that Ghost machine for, I believe, that's going to be Zach Apperson, normally driving the Tombstone Motorsports Ghost Energy Ford Mustang. So put him at the top of the spot right now, but that could change any second.
It sucks to give up your ride in some situations. Obviously, some drivers fill in. Other drivers just know, hey, I stink at the road courses, and I know it's better for the team and better for the owner's driver standing. Because remember, there's an owner's championship and a driver's championship. So at the end of the day, getting a ringer into the seat can always help the owner's championship and make it competitive if the driver has a bit of a bad season in the driver's standings. But anyway, here's Constantino again. Looks like she's on a bit of a better lap here. Looking at the moment, she has to beat a 1:16.631 if she wants to improve her lap. And if she can get into the 1:14s, she can challenge our pole sitter Ruby Valentin at the moment. So as she comes across the line, it's not going to be that much faster. A 1:17.156, actually about a second slower, half a second slower. So she's going to have to find some more time for the betting odds favorite coming into the ranks.
Seth Wansing now moves his way up to position number 3, Ruby Nakamata in position number 2. Again, a driver turning in a sub 1:16 time. Her time 1:15.327. Seth Wansing under 1:16, just above the 1:16 mark. And now a third driver will jump up in the group, the 21 of Emma Kruger, as we see Carmen Sienna spin out there. I think Carmen just took to some of those curbs a little too hard, and that caused her to spin out, and she'll have to come back and retake a qualifying time. Emma Kruger now in the 21 machine. Big wiggle from the 21. The Unforgiven Motorsports driver goes into the dirt. That will disqualify the time this time around, but Emma Kruger could be one to watch.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, I don't think those Reese's taste very good with dirt on them. But at the very least, though, she's definitely a driver to keep an eye out for. Very dominant on the road courses. To keep an eye on her. Anyway, back to Ruby Nakamata here. Currently sitting in P3. Was a provisional pole sitter about a couple laps ago. Now, obviously, in that pink and white machine. A little lock up there, though. You can see the wheel locked up just a bit. Hopefully that doesn't spite the tires too much, as it could inspire her to come back down pit lane to get a new fresh set. But across the line, we'll see if she improved. She will not improve. Another little bit of a slower lap there. So this kind of goes into a rhythm situation now where it's about getting in a rhythm, but if you start making mistakes, you can can kind of throw you out of your rhythm and in turn make it a situation where you have to chase the wheel, get back on the wheel, and try to go faster. You have to mentally tell yourself that, all right, I made a mistake at this corner. I need to rewrite my brain and tell me I have to go flat out again, screwing whatever it's telling your brain's telling you against that.
Constantino trying to improve her position on the field tonight. She was the one to beat. Everyone said she was the odds-on favorite. Right now, she is sitting in 9th place after a rough start to her qualifying session. Only 10 minutes left, so if she wants to improve her position, she's got to do it quick. Meanwhile, back up front, no major changes. Rudy Valentin, 114.695. He'll be the provisional pole. Tommy Reynolds now bumps Nikomata Susi Wajik down as he's turned into 115.282 as Constantino still having problems with managing that truck.
Indeed, and that it's just mental mind games. We'll see if she can get over that hump here right now, see if she can get off the pressure here. But to kind of go back to Reynolds for a second, seeing him jump up to P2, again, has a win in the back of his pocket, so he does not, he's playing with house money here. He's here to just have some fun, get a win, maybe give himself a better standing when he goes full-time later in the season. But as we now jump, speaking of Tommy Reynolds, here he is right now halfway through the circuit here. Good lap last time. Looking at his laps right now, he did have a purple Sector 1 here. Sector 3 was also improved, so it looks like this could be a bit of a flyer here for the 44 machine. We'll see if he can hold it, but look at how hard he's flying there, almost drifting through those last couple corners.
Or bad luck for Constantino. She just ran into the 78 of Richard Odie and another driver. I did not get the number of that car, but definitely some bad luck as she tried to put around. I believe that was the 11 machine. Yes, it was the 11 of Louis Frazier, who was serving as a roadblock for. So definitely some frustration there on the track. Constantino has got to be a little running out of patience right now as she tries to get her qualifying back on track.
And pressure is on. This is the crunch time, and again, positives about qualifying. Oh, she's going through the dirt there, so that obviously is the warm-up lap, so she's got time, but she's going to have to get those tires de-scrub, get the gravel off them, and hopefully get back up the speed. So now we'll cut to Schatz Wadsworth. Important to note, finished P2 last year at Sonoma. Obviously, though, not going to help right there when he goes way deep in the corner and hits the wall. Schatz Wadsworth currently 14th at the moment, top half of the field, but looking for a bit more. Now we'll cut to Lilacs here, currently sitting P13, which is in a bit of a train here. We'll see if that affects her times.
The draft not as important at this track as Zachary Mizzou follow along with Zachary Meredith and Eli Sasek up front. Not as important, but still, having a couple cars in front of you, punching the hole in the air for you, that's going to make your car go a little bit faster. And yes, you do want friends, even though this is a road course. Having people to navigate with, being in contact with them, being able to say, I'm going here, you go there, that will make your race a whole lot easier, especially when traffic gets thick going up the S's and into the first U-turn of the track.
Obviously, we just saw a driver kind of struggle with the conditions. Eli Sasek just got loose through about turn 9-10 there, ended up spinning around, had to tow to pit lane. But now that the pack's a little bit clearer here, we'll see if that 50 machine can improve on her time. But looking at the time right now, I don't think that is in the cards, as she'll cross the line with about a 120. Now here's Zachary Meredith, who also did not improve on his time. So still about 7 minutes to go. Get you about 3 laps, though. But the pressure's on if you want to improve. You're running out of time to dilly-dally here. And you're going to have to put down a good lap if you want to get up to the front of the field.
25 left in qualifying. You still have time to get at least 2, maybe 3 more qualifying laps in. The point of no return, though, is 4 minutes ago. Why? Because it at least takes almost a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes to warm up around this track. And then if you're good, another minute, 15, minute, 20 seconds to turn your qualifying lap in. So as the time ticks down, there's still a little bit of time. But if I'm a driver, I'm not comfortable right now. I need to decide, am I happy with the time I turned in, or do I want to try to push the car even harder in order to turn into better time? Because it's not only position they're looking for, it's also a pit road position as well.
Yeah, obviously having a farther up pit stall allows you the ability to get that better run off. Shorter pit stall, a little bit further back, the risk is you could get beat or get jumped in the pit lane. And obviously, with tires not being as important on these road courses as well, we'll see obviously strategies like that play out under the stage cautions and possible other cautions. pit stops can matter, and getting your times down can definitely help out on the pit lane. Here's Carmen Sienna right now sitting P20 in her number 96 machine. Looking like this is going to be an improvement of a time here as she's trending in the right direction. How high will she fly here? She comes off the last corner. It is going to be a 1:17.18. I thought it was going to be in the 17s. 1, 2, 3. Not going to bring her up any higher on the standings chart, but still an improvement nonetheless.
Your top 5 have not changed very much. Ruby Valentine, he still remains your points leader, your pole sitter. Tommy Reynolds in second, Ruby Nekomata in third, number Kruger fourth, and now count DJ Trout, the 93 machine. DJ Trout now up to position number 5, the 93 machine, of course, being the driver for the Premier Racing Club. Lots of, very interesting how the top 5 has shaken up, the top 10 also shaping up as well. Bianca Constantino, though, she's now making her horsepower heard, and she will make a big jump from where she was in 12th up to position number 2.
That's the hunger you expect out of that 57 machine, but I feel like she's got just a bit more in her diet with about 5 minutes to go here. I think we could see her make a challenge for that pole position. Here's Ruby Nekomata right now. Again, another driver tending in the right direction here. Could be an improvement here. It's going to be close across the line. It will be just a tad slower, 1:15.816. So she'll stay P4, currently outside row number 2 here. And now, kind of looking at the charts here, Reynolds coming down the pit lane here. Looks like his maybe just going for a quick change here, maybe just happy with his qualifying run. And now, again, there's that situation where if you make a mistake now with 4 minutes to go, you're probably done with qualifying at the very least. You make it out, you got to remember, warm-up lap's about a minute. You may get one more lap. You have to be careful to avoid any mistakes if you want to have a chance at pole position.
Time is of the essence now. Like I said, at about 4 minutes ago, that is go time. That is the cutoff, because you no longer have the liberty of trying to drive around, trying to get the gremlins shaken out of the car. It's go time at that point. You do not have time to mess around or try to figure out what else you can do with your car. You've got about 2 laps at this point if you're starting cold. So this means whatever time you have, look for your drivers to make up those positions and move forward later on this race.
Looking at the chat right now as well, Blake Henderson obviously supporting his team in the chat right now, rooting out for Tombstone and Unforgiven, the sister team in question. So good to see the team boss supporting and the team driver supporting the teams in question as they go around the track here. But now with about to be 3:30 here, you can see Meredith getting uber close to that wall there. But obviously, just trying to get the hammer down, finding where you're comfortable. And again, you got to just get that fear out of your mind if you want to pull a position here. You just got to go as aggressive as you want. And we see right now Bianca Constantino right now trending in the right direction. But she's going to have maybe 2 more laps at this. But I don't think we can count her out. It's those 2 laps, and she's definitely going to be a threat maybe to steal that pole position.
Down but never out, as we say, as we take her through the carousel one more time. Takes a wide run through that carousel, maybe seeing if going a little bit out of her depth, making her around a little faster back to the last turn and to the start finish line. Her last time 1:17.528, so this could be her last go. This could be the last gasp to try to get the pole position. Otherwise, she's in a very good place right now to start position number 2, which could change the complexion of the race considering the ringer she has around her.
Yeah, better than starting outside the top 10. Can never complain about a top 5 qualifying spot. Well, I guess get top 2 with her currently in that spot. But looking right now at the board, I saw 2 things flash up. Constantino is on an improvement lap, but Ruby Valentine also just had a purple sector 1, so both drivers on the limit here, knowing it's put up or shut up time.
Richard Odie driving a block. Constantino not taking it at all. She's going to make a very aggressive move to get around. And now you see her going left, right, left, coming towards the final turns of this racetrack. This could be her last chance to improve her time. 2 minutes out and some change. This is it. This time could be the last one she turns in as she goes aggressively into the carousel.
I think you got to keep an eye on that 4 machine behind there. Purple sector 3 as well. I think this lap from the 4 is going to be a flyer. And the 57 will cross the line first here. Odie can get out of the way of both cars here. Cross the line. The 57 will not improve, but the 1 will. 0.3 faster. And that is going to put the bar even higher for the field with 1:30 to go here. And believe it is situational where driver crosses line. If the cell session time, they make it one extra lap. Not 100% on that one, but so they should get one extra lap considering road course rules here. We'll have to see on that point, but if not, if you're crossing the line now, you got one last attempt at it, maybe one more if you can really scurry around the track.
If you can scurry, if you can hurry, but that's only if you can make it work. Tommy Reynolds sitting in third, best time, 1:15.248. Fast time practice, 1:15.41, so definitely an improvement from practice this time around as Tommy Reynolds is going to make one final attempt to try to jump Constantino in order to get on the front row. Both these drivers hungry, both these drivers ready to get some business done here at Sonoma. It's just a matter of who is going to be faster when push comes to shove.
That lap was slower for Reynolds. We'll see if he'll have one more attempt of him, assuming that he will. Here's Constantino. We'll have another attempt as well. This lap, not the quickest. Sector 3 was the only fast time. Everything else was stable. Across the line. It is going to be an improvement, though. It's going to be a 1:14.643. The icing on the cake, though, that was the pole time about 2 minutes ago, but now it has changed, and now it's a 1:14.3. So times have changed, drivers have moved, and it's still Valentine up front.
2 minutes too late, unfortunately, for Constantino, as it looks like she may have touched the dirt that time. We'll see what exactly happens as time expires here on the track. It looks like everybody who is in the midst of a qualifying run will be able to finish that qualifying run, so no more new runs allowed from this point on.
Yep. We see Hagen. Oh, not Hagen. That's Tommy Reynolds with a Hagen paint scheme. Spins it into the back wall there. His quality is done. He was going all for it to try to get onto that front row, and he will have to stay P3 at the moment. See if any other driver can jump him. Here's Constantino right now. Last chance, a run for glory for pole position. We'll see if she can maybe get that elusive golden apple and take that pole position.
Into the carousel one more time. The 57 Monster Energy machine for Stepping Stone Motorsports comes through very clean onto the front stretch. One more turn to navigate. There it is, turn number 10. And what will her final time be? Her final time, nothing. She didn't validate it. I thought she hit the dirt back there a little bit, and in fact she did. So that lap will be invalidated, and that will end her qualifying run.
Yep, here's Chad Swatzer. I think one of the last drivers to put down a time here. We'll see if he can improve on his lowers. No, he cannot. It'll be a 1:18.056. And here's Ruby Nekomata. I think she's on a cooldown lap here because she's going quite slow here. So I think Hunter Peach is also on a flyer here. So Peach is going to be the last attempt here to try to shake up this top 10 here, top 5, top whatever you want to say. And we'll see if that number 20 machine can spoil the party up front.
Side by side, the 20 goes. Will he be able to move up the position, or will he be stuck wherever he is at? Right now, sitting in 14, so he's hoping to move up a little bit onto the field, maybe break into the top 10. No, he won't. Goes heavy into the wall, nose first, and that will end his qualifying attempt.
I think also worth noting, I think the time was going to run out there anyway with the extended time, so it was not going to matter anyway. But still, Hunter Peach going to hit that wall there. And now we're ready for warm-up, and unlike qualifying, it is very, very pretty day here.
How that works, isn't it? You just turn around, and the weather magically gets a whole lot better.
Oh, how virtual racing can sometimes provide the glories here. I'm going to go get my sunblock and my sunscreen, as I think we're going to need it with how bright it is in comparison to quali.
We're a little far from the beach for that sort of thing. We'll get you back to the weather in just a moment to get an idea of what these guys and girls will be driving with tonight as they do their warm-up laps. 5 minutes to shake out the gremlins and get at it one more time before they go racing for the big show. Currently from the National Weather Service, 66 degrees, 1 degree of humidity out here, so very low humidity, mostly cloudy out there. The sun is out, though, with a wind coming out of the southwest at 6 miles per hour. Should create a little bit of drama, but nothing like we saw last week at Las Vegas.
Yeah, a little calmer wind than it was in qualifying. If you can remember back, it was about 10 mile an hour of wind to the southwest, now about 6. You can see one car hit that wall back there. I think that was DeMontre Dotson. Here's Josh Gaiman right now. We didn't say much about him in qualifying, but he had an all right run for what he was doing. Good top 10 run, I believe he was in. Obviously, we'll see the full grid at the end of this warm-up here. But, yeah, another driver you can't overlook on the road courses.
Can't overlook at all. Lots of drivers you cannot overlook right now as we get them warmed up. Of course, Rudy Valentine still is going to officially be your pole sitter. Bianca Constantino in position number 2. Tommy Reynolds, Ruby Nikomata, Joshua Gaiman, your top 5. Emma Kruger, Joshua Sosi, DJ Trout, Elias Flores, and Pacey Wygant rounding out your top 10.
A lot of strong drivers in there. 2 of those 10 have wins already this season. We'll ride on board here with the McLaren-inspired paint scheme here, as I guess you could say helmet scheme more. So you get a nice little cockpit shot here, and even though you can't really see out the mirrors here, and it's not a track where mirror driving is the case, you can see those now will shoot up to the front of the bonnet. You can see it is the 4 of Ruby Valentine, as you can see her right now coming in the pit lane.
Rudy Valentine coming down pit lane to maybe make some last-minute adjustments, maybe try to figure out what else he can do here on the track. Other drivers of note, Hunter Peach right now riding around the 25 of Joshua Gaiman. DJ Trout, who's going to sit in your top 10, riding all alone out there in that 93 machine, is trying to shake out the vitamin water machine one last time. You can see on your screen, 88 of Seth Wansing. Nope, let's go back to the 27 now of 27 of Selena Thompson. It looks like she's going the wrong way in her American Airlines Menard Chevrolet.
Yeah, going backwards is not really ideal around these road courses here, but sometimes you gotta get a feel for a track. Maybe going backwards can definitely help you out at that very least. Obviously, it looks like she is trying, considering her position on the track right now, I think she's trying to get the pit lane here or find a spot to spin it around. But obviously, this is the perks of warm-up at the very least. Some drivers use this as an opportunity to de-stress, and it looks like Thompson is doing that at the moment. She is just kind of going to back it up, and I think she's going to hit the pit lane here. So overall, just having a little bit of fun here, blowing off some steam and relaxing before 63 laps waits these drivers with white knuckle racing around the left and right corners of Sonoma.
63 laps with two stage breaks in between. I believe the stage breaks are going to be around lap 12 and 25, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you are correct as well on that one. I'll just do a quick double check here to make sure that is the right numbers here. It's 15 to 30 actually, so just a little ahead, but still an extra few laps, extra goodness of racing around this track.
Goody goodness.
Hey, it's going to be a long race here on this road course. Got to find the thesaurus here and look up some extra words here. Test out some new phrases.
You know what? We'll give that to you. We will give that to you. Funny, and it's important to note that we are on the older configuration of this track, the 10-turn configuration, the Classic Cup configuration that was run from 2002 to 2018. Last winner on this configuration, Martin Truex Jr. back in 2018 when he was running that 78 for Furniture Row Racing. Took him, his race time was just over 2 hours on that one with an average speed of 82 miles per hour. As we see some of these drivers out here, obviously it's not going to be that long of a race, but I think we may see some similar speeds, if not just a little faster.
Yeah, definitely this connection car can provide the speeds. We'll have to see how it brings up, but as warm-up has officially concluded here, we're going to get ready to race. Ruby Nikomata runs the top of the table here in warm-up.
I believe you mean Rudy Valentine will be position number 1. We'll go through the whole rundown in just a moment here, take you through all 35 drivers starting on tonight's race, as well as give you an idea of what else is going on. Row number 1, we'll take you through qualifying, starting order right now. Row number 1 belongs to the 4 of Rudy Valentine. On the outside of him, 7, Bianca Constantino. Row number 2 belongs to 44 of Tommy Reynolds, 2 ringers on this row. The outside the 1 of Ruby Nikomata will start position number 4. Joshua Gaiman, the 33, will start position number 5. Emma Kruger, another ringer, will start position number 6. Position in row number 4, Joshua Susi starts inside in 7th. DJ Trout, the 93, in 8th. Row number 5 belongs to the 99 of Elias Flores, and taking position number 10 to round out our top 10, Pacey Wygant. Kevin?
Moving on further down, we go to row number 11 here. Callie, another driver you can't count out on the road courses. She'll be partnered up with Seth Wansing in row number 6. Row number 7, Hunter Peach and Lilac Sear, 2 strong drivers in row number 7. Row number 8, Chad Swatsworth and Jeremy Braille. Swatsworth looking to represent Arrowhead Racing. He'll make up row number 8. Row 9, Eli Sassick and Lily Frazier. Another Arrowhead car and the Ascent race machine of Eli Sassick in row 9. Row 10, Carmen Sienna, the team boss of Arrowhead Racing, and Bobby Flowers, super sub Bobby Flowers, will be in row number 10. Row 11, Selena Thompson and Zachary Meredith. They'll make row 11. Row 12, Josh Arnold and Matthew Boone, two good oval drivers looking to survive this road course. Dean Clavitt and Richard Odie will be in row number 13. Row number 14 will be Austin Mongold and Ruby Estes. Row number 15 will be Christopher Pendell and Alfred Denny. Row number 16 will be Gary Donaldson and Dimitri Dotson. Row number 17, William Britton. Now we're getting the drivers that didn't set times, and Tommy Withers both joined late in qualifying. We'll start further in the back here. Row number 18, Blake Henderson, who has a EOL, and obviously our own Joe Cortez accidentally joined in the registration. He will not be taking part in the festivities, but he will be slotted currently at P38.
Just because the hauler came out with my name on it, just because the truck had came out with my name on it, doesn't mean I'm in this race, but I'm flattered that they at least brought a car.
Did the check not clear?
3 stages here tonight, breaks at 50 laps, 15 and 30. Drivers will have 6 sets of tires available to them. Look for a full fuel run of between 24 to 27 laps of fuel with 12-gallon fuel cells and a spit lane of 45 miles per hour, which should not be a problem for these drivers as they're going to be slowing down coming into the carousel anyways when we get there. Speaking of the carousel, we are rapidly approaching that special time where Rudy Valentine and Bianca Constantino will take the green flag through the carousel one time, and we're off to green flag racing. Both drivers side by side through the carousel into the restart zone. Let's go racing from Sonoma Raceway here in the heart of wine country. Green flag flies, and side by side they go to the start-finish line to start 68 laps of racing, already bumping.
Josh Gaiman starting to cut off there. Josh Gaiman goes for a spin way off into the guardrail there, and he will have to back it up here. We'll see if he can continue on or if he will have to tow here. But definitely Josh Gaiman not how he wanted to start tonight's festivities as we're halfway through lap number 1 here. Another driver going farther in the back. As you can see, cars navigate around these corners. You got to be aggressive on these opening laps here. You don't want to give up time. You want to get the elbows out to get extra spots. But if you put yourself too much on the brink, you could end up getting a penalty for yourself and maybe ruin your race and someone else's.
Last thing you want to do is ruin the car so early in the race. Constantino almost had that problem making contact with the 4 of Valentine going to start this race. Let's only take a little replay there of what happened to Joshua Gaiman right off the start here. Going up around turn 2 into the S's at turns 2 and 3. You're going to see a lot of drivers try to figure out what happened here, try to figure out where they want to be, where they're going to go, and it looks like Gaiman may have just got cut off, plain and simple. That's to take him for a ride into the infield, and that driver, the 33, may be done for the night.
Yeah, he hit that Reese's machine of Emma Kruger there. Looked like he was trying to clear himself over Emma there, and Emma just happened to be there. We're going to watch the front now as well. We saw a little beating and banging here. And look at the 4 machine here in the 57 going hard into corner number 1 here. And you can just see how close they get baiting and banging here. You can see the touch right there. That caused the 4 to get slow up the hill. And that in turn allowed the 57 to get the run off and take P1. So obviously a little bit of a rubbing and banging there. And if the 4 can get back to the 57, you know there'll be no love lost between the 2 of them on a late race.
But first, the 4 is going to have to get around the 44 of Tommy Reynolds, filling in for the suspended John Hagan, already doing a great job of taking the spot in position number 2, but right now over a second change behind Bianca Constantino. Rudy Valentine in 3rd, Rudy Necromata in 4th, and Emma Kruger rounding out your top 5 as DJ Trout looks like he's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you can see right there, the 44 ended up mowing the grass there just a little bit on the high side, and that's going to allow the 4 machine to get a good run off. So you have to be on your A game, especially to the front. Now we'll come back to DJ Trout here and Emma Kruger. And look at that front end of Emma Kruger's machine. It is, the front clip is completely torn off here. That's the contact that she had with Josh Gaiman. And you can see the effects that it's had. Obviously, though, it seems not to be affecting the performance all that much, but Right now, though, obviously, you got to wonder if the iRacing stewards room, whatever, can make a point. I have to hold that thought, though, as Tommy Reynolds goes off way hard, and he will hit the tire barrier driver's side first there. He'll get it fired back up. That's going to be 5, 6, 7 spots. And look at Cherry Breo coming through on the back there. Almost followed the 44 in his tracks.
44, Tommy Reynolds was running so well up towards the front, but it just shows you how treacherous this road course can be. One slip, one lost focus, and next thing you know, you go from being the windshield to being the bug out there. He will drop at least 10 positions on the field as he goes down on through the track. So now it'll be Constantino up front in the 57 machine, Valentin in second, Nicomata third, Cooper fourth, and DJ Trout running at your top 5.
Yeah, and I want to go back to my point here as we see right now Callie Height making a move on Tommy Reynolds. When it rains, it pours. We'll see if Reynolds can kind of get his groove back here. But it looks like Callie Height is still going to be door-to-door here. See if Height can get the run off. But to kind of finish my point now about Emma Kruger, about that front clip being torn off, you wonder if it's going to affect the downforce on that machine. And secondly, it makes you wonder if maybe the iRacing virtual gods, obviously, sometimes when there's damage, they'll give you the red circle flag telling you have to come in and fix it. I wonder, obviously, she's been out far enough that I don't think they gave her that flag. But it makes you wonder, with no fast repairs in this series, it makes you wonder, can she fix that car up and make it competitive, or is the speed going to be wrecked out of it?
The question I would have for the pit crew when she gets down there, and she'll probably come down at around after lap 15 when we have our first stage break, is how much required repair time is she going to have on that car? Unlike traditional NASCAR, or the real thing, I should say, where you have to figure out what exactly went wrong and create a fix for it immediately, the pit stops in virtual racing are set by mandatory repair time and optional repair time. When you have damage, you have a time set on both. So she'll be set to go in for a certain amount of time in her pit stall for mandatory repairs. I just don't know how long it's going to be or how much that will take out of her run tonight.
Yeah, at the same point, there's no Maybell confirmed, can confirm that right now, so she will not have to come down pit lane until she is ready. But going back to the optional and required damage, it doesn't obviously tell you until you're in your pit lane how much optional and how much required you have. If it's optional, obviously you put the tires on, fuel, whatever you need to do in your stop, and then you can leave. But if it's required, she could end up getting a bit of a surprise shock when she steps in. Next thing you know, it's 2 minutes of required, and she's going to have to sit there for 2 long minutes as the virtual crew puts a new front clip or even some bare bond on that machine to get that thing back up to looking pretty like it does. A little bit further back here, you can see Pacey Wyge at the moment sitting P6. Seth Wanzing and Joshua Sosi, last week's race winner, has ditched the Hello Kitty scheme back to his USPS known colors here. Obviously, the pink machine was fun to look at, but back in the USPS machine, currently sitting in P number 8, trying to help extend his points lead here with a good finish at Sonoma.
Miss the Hello Kitty scheme, not gonna lie. Absolutely miss that scheme, but it is good to see him back in the red, white, and blue for the U.S. Postal Service, trying to deliver for a second week in a row, but he may be rewarded as you see him racing alongside Pacey Wyge and Seth Wanzing. He's gonna try to go in to the carousel, make a pass there. One of the big passing zones in this race is that carousel. Not going to happen this time, so Wanzing will remain in position number 7. Susie will just have to be satisfied for running on his back bumper for one more lap as they continue down this track. 6 of 15 in the books.
Yeah, indeed, we're getting a nice little shot here out of Seth Wanzing's rear bumper camera just to show you, again, how technical it can be, how you have to hit your marks. And if you make one mistake, these tracks are about flow, about getting your run, making your line work out. So if you make one mistake in one corner, it can really affect your flow in the rest of the sector or the rest of the track. You have to back it up. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, the driver makes a mistake in this corner here. They're then going to have a bad entry for the next corner and the next corner until eventually they can get it back online. But right now, Joshua Sosi is hounding the back of the 88, but the 88 is also hounding the back of Pacey Wygen. So in turn, if Wygen can get enough breathing room, it can help Sosi get a move on Wanzing, or in turn help Wanzing get a little extra speed. But right now, it's just a train here.
Just a train right now, and right now that's okay. Again, these drivers are going to have a mandatory yellow flag at around lap 15. So right now, there's no pressure to run super hard. There's no pressure to take the tires off this thing and drive it like you stole it. Right now, all they want to do is drive clean. They want to drive safe and make sure that they have a car that can run for the win at the very end of this racetrack, of this race. win the race on lap 7, you win it on lap 63, and there's still plenty of time to do that.
Looking at the reports right now, as we see right now, Hunter Peach and Tommy Reynolds trying to do the recovery drive here to get back up. But to go through the reports right now of, since we're halfway through stage number 1, 3 drivers right now have had some trickiness at this track here, with Ruby Estes and Josh Arnold both off the track at the moment with long pit repairs, along with Christopher Pendel. All 3 still seem to be contending, as Ruby Estes has just left the pit lane. Christopher Pendel is on the track at the moment, and is actually on the lead lap 2, and Josh Arnold still with a lengthy repair here. So it's a risk going down a lap here. It's very hard to get your lap back, but if other drivers have chaos or mistakes or just want to call it a day early, you can still capitalize if you're at least a lap or 2 down.
You can still capitalize, don't get me wrong, and some of these drivers are going to do just that. They're not running for position here tonight. They're running to say they ran the whole season. They're running because they want to retain the points they have, and they're running to simply keep the sponsors happy and keep the car in contention for future races. For some racers, this is their big chance of glory. For others, this is simply another day at the office, and it doesn't have to be a long day at the office. Think of it as a casual Friday, if you will.
Casual Friday going over 200 miles an hour. It's a bit hard, but maybe I'll wear my pajama pants inside the cockpit. Can confirm Ruby Estes actually has now officially pulled behind the wall, so she'll be the first retirement in the field here tonight. But Arnold and Pendel, Arnold still with a lengthy clock. He may be joining her soon. But still, Pendel still powering on here. You can see Christopher Pendel with the Gatorade Autism Awareness Foundation paint scheme here. Last car on the lead lap, though. So with the stage break, though, as long as he can stay on the lead lap, but you'll see in a second here, the 57 is occupying those mirrors quick. Right there, you can see in the wide shot there. And if he ends up going a lap down, then there's the concern looking up the road. You got Tommy Withers in the 23, Alfred Denny in the 29, William Britton in the 64, all within a shout of this 94 machine, and then it's game on to make sure you stay on the lead lap or get in the lucky dog position. Because if you are one down with a few cars ahead of you, yeah, I don't think you can take the wave route easily, because you need fuel and tires to get to the end of this thing. And here on the pit lane, Josh Arnold finally leaving his box after a 5-minute lengthy repair in that number 2 Pizza and Wings podcast machine.
Must have been serious damage in that machine. Might have been even engine damage on that car. So we will see if they can maintain being productive or being competitive out here on the track. Only time will tell as we're scoring lap number 9 on the field. The battle I'm watching, as you see now, the 21 of Emma Kruger get around that 2 machine. Still, despite the damage, still running incredibly competitive out there. Currently sitting in 4th and starting to take on a little bit of time on the run 1 of Ruby Nakamata. Behind him is TJ Trout, now the Vitamin Water machine, leading a whole contingency of cars himself. Beats Elijah, Josh Husey, Elias Flores, and Seth Wansing in that group as well. Wansing was further up in that group, but he lost about 3 positions somewhere on the track, so he will drop down from 7th to 10th, as we may have some more trouble.
Yeah, right there, Josh Arnold, lap down car, trying to get out of the way here. He is going to hold up Pacey Wygen there a treat, and that's going to give that Vitamin Water machine, 93 machine, a bit of a buffer here, as it was just a bad time to catch a car at a bad part of the circuit, and that in turn, you can now see Arnold is trying to feel out what his car has. And to kind of tell you what happened to Seth Wansing here, going up into 1, kind of the age-old saying, when you have a driver in your mirror and the pressure's put on, it can sometimes make you crack. Wansing went up through 1 and 2, went a little too deep on the brakes, ended up going just a bit wide, lost a couple spots, didn't hit anything, but definitely the pressure was seen. Look at this right now, Lilacs here, saw a puff of smoke there, looks like she was making a move on Kelly Height. Kelly Height, a little bit slippery, coming through the last corner here, side by side with Eli Sassy.
So Lilac Zier, the 50, was one of 3 cars going into, or a fall pack going into the carousel there. The 8 ends up going wide, and that's going to leave the door open for both the 44 and the 50 there. So Lilac Zier moves up to position number 13. Tommy Reynolds goes into 14th, and Callie Height will drop down to 16th position as she gets dispatched by Eli Sason.
And like I said, it's about building momentum at these tracks, hitting your corners correctly, because one mistake like there lost her a couple spots, and it also hurt her entry in the last corner that made more mistakes. It looks like Hunter Peach had a bit of an incident here. Obviously, he was running around this pack here. See what exactly happened to Peach, and he's already sideways right there. He's looping it around, so it looks like it probably was a self-spin, as I'm not seeing anyone else worth noting in his incident box here. Looks like he didn't hit anything, though. He'll continue on, but he's going to lose a couple spots because of it.
He didn't hit anything. He wasn't near anything. So that was just, again, another missed mark.
Battle for the lead here. Looks like the 4 machine of Rudy Valentine has caught Bianca Constantinou just in time for the stage break here in about 4-ish laps here. You can see the game is on here. Obviously, Constantinou, a full-time driver. Rudy Valentine running a road course ringer schedule. And we'll see who can kind of best out here in stage number 1. Maybe a flare of what we're going to see throughout this race. Who can make it, the pole sitter or the driver that was on the outside of the front row?
William Britton wisely getting out of the way as these two drivers start doing a little business there within striking distance of one another. Valentine obviously has the disadvantage. He's got to not only catch up to the 57 of Constantinou, he's also got to make sure he can get around her. Now this is where you have to really start positioning yourself and figuring out where you have the best chance of passing is. Obviously the carousel, great opportunity to pass, but there's a couple other areas like in the S's or down the chute where you can also make that work. Now it's up to Valentine to figure out how he's going to make those passes and more importantly where he's going to position himself to get a run.
And I think adding to kind of expanding that thought there, it's also about knowing your sectors and knowing right now what your sector is and what sector you're better in, what sector they're better in, and making adjustments according to that. Because obviously these drivers are in team chat. Sometimes they'll be relaying information to each other, and obviously some drivers have poor races. They can maybe help spot or add other information, and that can help these drivers out figure out, okay, you're a little bit slower than Bianca Constantinou in Sector 2, or Constantinou, you're faster in Sector 3, keep it up. And you can in turn use that information to really help you, as this lap traffic can also play a bit of a factor. But to kind of finish my thought there, at the same point, the 4 has to be careful because now that you see the 57, you don't want to change your driving style. You don't want to overdrive because that can really shoot yourself in the foot.
No, the last thing you can do is afford to get tilted on this track, overdrive it, overcorrect it, and put yourself into the dirt or go spinning around at some part of the track. The only thing that will do is make sure you lose several positions. But now we got a driver coming down pit road.
That's our race leader, Bianca Constantinou, coming in the pit lane here. Very interesting call here. Looks like she's pitting before the stage break. Obviously, you can pit before the stage break, not go a lap down, and then leapfrog the position. So Constantinou taking a bit of a strategy call here, joined by Ruby Nekomata, Emma Kruger, DJ Trout, to name a few here. So it looks like this is the lap. A lot of this front half was like, all right, I'm going to pit here. It looks like the 4 wanting the stage victory here, not going to change the memo. And now the question is, all these cars pitting, well, only 4 you could say at this moment. Actually 5 with Alfred Denny, but Alfred Denny's got a long damage clock there. So it's worth noting at this point, long clock, long thing, they're going to jump to the head of the line when the stage break ends. They're not coming back down. In turn, the 4, the 00, the 99, the 88, and the 81 all will gate better stage points, but they're going to be further back in traffic. And this may play into the hands of the 57.
Meanwhile, back up front, new leader Rudy Valentine is going to continue his run. He will now be scored position number 1 after starting on the pole of this race. He just got around, I believe that was Demonte Dodson. Yes, first one to put him a lap down. So right now we're sitting about 27 cars on the lap as Rudy Valentine comes down pit road.
Once Valentine crosses line, stage end, not stage end, sorry, 2 to go, pit lane closes. So in turn, once the leader crosses the line, no one else can pit. So Valentine covering that off, does not want to be caught a day late and $1 short. And you see 1 car go around, that is the 31 machine, not going to affect this race. We'll see if Wygent follows on in here. He's coming through the last couple corners, and he is also in along with Joshua Sosi. So Elias Flores is going to stay out here along with Seth Wanzing, and they both look poised to finish first and second in this stage at the moment.
Very entertaining pit strategy as pit lanes officially closed at this point. We have plenty of very interesting driving left to go. 2 to go before we hit the stage break. And right now, the leader in all of that is going to be, I believe, as it would be right now, is going to be Elias Flores, who's going to inherit the lead.
And as you have a race for the stage here, that's Seth Wanzing right behind Elias Flores. So both of them will fight it out here. Constantinou, worth noting, is currently sitting in P3. So with her pit stop and her 7-second pit stop, she did not take tires. She filled it up and she left. She's got a chance maybe to sneak in and take back the stage victory here. That Monster Energy machine fills up the mirrors here in our shot of both that Napa machine and the Ascent Racing machine. But coming around the last couple corners here, about to see the white flag in the stage and the 99 and 88 hang on. Or Constantinou play the sneaky double here and take back the lead and the stage victory.
Elias Flores could be a dark horse, not necessarily to win the race, but at least pick up some playoff points and some very needed stage points from this tricky track. 11 through turns 11 and 12 we go, and we are about to have the white flag fly for the stage. Elias Flores in the catbird seat. He's only got one more lap to run. He'll walk away with playoff points and stage points. Seth Wansing, the 88. You know he wants to play spoiler on that one.
I'm keeping an eye on Constantinu playing the ultimate spoiler here. And look at Seth Wansing. He got a good run out of one here, but not really a passing zone you can make a move. That's going to be a couple corners time here. They're also a risk of lap traffic here, as it looks like they are poised to catch the 23 of Tommy Withers just up the road. Could be a pick that helps one of these three drivers here. Wansing mounts the corner kind of high there. It's going to make him a bit loose, allow Constantinu to sneak up the inside.
Constantinu will sneak up the inside, and she may take away position. Yes, she will. That was for position, and that will be for position number 2. But meanwhile, Elias Flores continues to run alone, going through the side-by-side turns and ultimately towards the carousel.
Constantinu way too deep through that S carousel section right there. That's going to probably hurt any chance of her winning this stage here, but she's still got a corner go here, and Flores just blinked out for a second. Could be a bit of a fact here, but coming through the last corner here, we'll see how aggressive Constantinu on the brakes as Flores covers it off.
Flores covers it off with the help of the 23 in front of him. Elias Flores gets ahead of Constantinu off the carousel and score Elias Flores your stage winner in stage number 1. Bianca Constantinu in second, Seth Wansing in rounding out the top 3.
It's almost a second there. It took a second for the flag to get thrown, but now the stage will officially end. So it will be Flores, Constantinu, Wansing, Brea, Zier, your top 5. Obviously, we'll run through the rest of the stage in a second here. But now the question mark is, Constantinu is the only driver that came in the pit lane that's currently sitting in the top 10. So she really drove hard and aggressive to get herself back up in contention, while everyone else that came in, from Valentine to Kruger, the Nekomata to Trout, so on and so forth, all outside the top 10, but will cycle back up towards the front. And some of those drivers, like Rudy Valentine, has 4 fresh tires. So we'll take a quick look at the unofficial stage results for stage number 1. Elias Flores takes the win in his Ford Mustang, with Bianca Constantinu in second, Seth Wansing in third, Jeremy Braille in fourth, Lilac Sear in fifth, Eli Sasek in 6th, Tommy Reynolds in 7th, Kelly Height in 8th, Bobby Blowers in 9th, and Chad Swatsworth brings up the rear in P10 for stage points.
So now pit strategy comes into play. And just to expand on what you were saying there, Kevin, you're absolutely right. You know, as you burn up the cars, you burn off the resources on it, fuel, tires, and what have you, it does affect the car. It does affect how hard you can run on the track there. Now here's the important thing to remember. Tires matter here, but in a different way. In a short track, they burn off the harder you go through the turns. On a road course, they burn off with the left-right you do, with how inefficient you are with your movements. Efficiency of energy matters here, and if these drivers can manage that efficiency of energy, then they can reduce the wear on these tires and go for the full fuel cell run, as opposed to those who are going to run it harder to take the turns faster and ultimately burn them off before the full run's complete.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to note there, Professor Cortez. Good old physics 101 lesson. You got to be smooth and you got to be clean on the wheel if you want to make your tires last. So now we're obviously going to see some drivers pit here, as pit lane will be open this time by. It's getting very foggy again here, with visibility becoming a bit poorer here. So the sun we saw during warm-up has officially kind of concluded here, as it's getting foggier and foggier. So it's going to be a bit hard to drink those California grapes when at the end of this race if you finish well. We'll take a quick look at the weather. Speaking of the fog, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 humidity, wind fluctuating between 6 and 7 in the southwest. Still very cloudy, mostly cloudy. It says there's a little bit of sun. I don't see it.
But again, going back to the classroom here for a second, this is another thing to remember. When the sun is blocked by those partially cloudy skies, as we see everyone come down pit road this time, the track condenses. It doesn't get as hot. It's not as grippy. And as a result, especially if you're on brand new tires that are cold, you're going to feel like you're ice skating out there. So you're going to have to be very careful for the start of the next stage, because the last thing you want to do is spin the tires, start a big wreck, and get everybody behind you involved.
And in turn, the drivers pitting now, if they do take 4 tires, have to deal with cold tires. And with that slippery, ice skatey-ass track, it's going to take a lap and a little bit longer with the track being cooler to warm up those tires. So in turn, they'll have to be cautious and concerned, but also be ready to poach while those tires warm up. So here's pit lane at the moment. Obviously, different drivers pulling different elements of strategy. Some drivers, looks like Elias Flores, taking fuel only. See if any drivers like to take 4 fires. Jeremy Breo is going to win actually, Elias Flores won the race off pit lane. Jeremy Breo will finish second on the race off pit lane. Most cars electing to take fuel only. Looks like Hunter Peach elected to take 4 along with Seth Wanzing. They'll lose some track position due to that, but in turn sets themselves up for stage 2. And then you can see Emma Kruger and the 44 Tommy Reynolds both in pit lane. Obviously see Tommy Reynolds with that hard shunt, fixing that car up. As for Emma Kruger, she's got the front clip back, but I heard through the radio comms she was dealing with some steering issues, so that car is not 100% even after getting the front clip back on.
Meanwhile, one penalty to mention. Austin Mongold must have spilled the Dr. Pepper in the car or tried to throw the Dr. Pepper bottle out the window because he was given an end of longest line penalty when the restart happened. So, Austin Mongold, you got to manage your Dr. Pepper consumption better there, buddy.
Yeah, indeed. Hey, drinking too much Dr. Pepper also makes you have to use the bathroom, so maybe it was a bit of a bathroom stop as well to try to go through the pit lane here. So he'll escape out the pit lane, but he'll have to start at the tail end of the longest line here as he'll get caught back up. But look at that damage as well on the front end. So definitely, maybe it was a situation where the pit lane closed. He had to come into the pit lane to fix that car, because when it's 2 to go, if you pit before the stage ends in that 2-lap window and pit when it's closed, you can see the effects here. It looks like we're going to wind to see what exactly happened here. There you can see the fender uncut there. So I think we're going to find out kind of quickly here what caused that fender of that machine to get crinkled in.
Fast forwarding through as you do, and it's going to happen right into the entry to the chute there. Looks like he just missed the turn entirely, got way too high up on the bumpers there, and that'll go straight into the wall, causing that heavy damage for the Ascent Racing driver. So Ascent Racing literally having an up and down day. The top driver, the number 9, Eli Sason, will restart position. Elias Flores will start position number 8. Austin Mongold starts at the very back of the field.
We're going to have a track fact here as well. Located 1 hour north of San Francisco, Sonoma is the largest motorsport facility in Northern California. Sonoma opened in 1968 and holds an FIA Grade 2 ranking. Obviously, if it was a Grade 1 ranking, F1 could come here, but obviously a Grade 2 ranking still good for a lot of the lower series and mid-series that, well, not mid as talent, but middle-of-the-road series that can run here. So obviously Sonoma has a lot of different action on it, from drag racing to NASCAR to sports cars, and they even IndyCar, Champ Car ran here a while back. So obviously a lot of series take Sonoma as a track they like to run around.
But can you name the only permanent Grade 1 FIA track in the United States?
Wouldn't it be Circuit of the Americas?
That's correct. It would be Circuit of the Americas, the only permanent Grade 1 FIA track, and for a long time, the host of the only Grand Prix in the United States.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had to think of the F1 calendar. I'm like, thought it was a trick question for a second. I was like, F1 runs at COTA, so it's got to be COTA. And I'm just running through my head. Watkins Glen obviously doesn't hit that point. For goodness sake, I'm just running through the tracks real fast. But yeah, it's just COTA.
Race car will make the hard left turn down pit road this time by, and it will be in control of Bianca Constantino and Rudy Valentine side by side, just like we saw at the start of the race. These two will once again restart as we get ready to go green flag racing. We're going to think outside the open here at Sonoma Raceway. Green flag about to fly, and both these drivers making a cautious restart side by side. Let's see what they do going into the S's.
A lot more clean at the moment, but the 4 going to go high up and spin the 57. The 4 too deep on the brakes will take the 57 for a route, and they'll both be around hounding Trout the lead. And this is, we saw in stage 1 where Constantino and the 4 both got kind of close. We see another car also spun there. I think that's the 81 of Josh Ososi. It is. So 3 cars there caught napping, 3 strong contenders. But in sector 1, stage 1, the cars kind of got together, rubbed it close there again. The 4 not trying to be caught napping, aggressive on the brakes, and end up taking the 57 for a ride.
Long live the Queen. The Queen is dead. Long live the new king. DJ Trout will inherit the lead after that major mistake by Valentin and Constantino. So DJ Trout now currently scored as your leader. Pacey Wygen, I believe, will inherit 4th place. Elias Flores, the Ascent driver we were just talking about, will be position number 5 or 3.
Looks like we'll take a replay of what happened going up the hill here. We'll get some other angles to show you. We'll ride on board with DJ Trout. You can see the 4 get a little squirrely, clip the grass too deep, and that will clip the 57. 57 almost got away with it, but the 4 had kind of nowhere to go. Ends up shooting around. Then you can see the 81 in the rear shot there, spin it on his little lonesome as he got a little early on the tires on those cold tires. Again, we'll wrap the hill and keep an eye on the 57. You can see almost ready to get through, skate through, and just clip the right corner panel. And that's all you have to do to pit a car around. And now all the cars skate around, and you know that 57 is going to be driving mad.
One more angle of this as we'll go back to racing in just a moment. Up the S as we go, and you see the 4 just hits the brake at the wrong time, tries to cut the car wrong, and that's going to get into the 57 and force both those drivers to fall back through the field. Now, if that was a high-speed car chase, I would have said great move. As a 57 still in trouble, driving aggressive, trying to get back. If that was a high-speed car chase, I'd say great move to disable that driver and arrest him. But this is not, and these drivers have long memories.
Yeah, definitely going to, obviously, maybe an eye-for-eye situation with the 4 and the 57 there, but obviously with that 4 machine of Rudy Valentin, definitely sign him up for the force and the cops and robbers in the GTA universe with those pit maneuvers. But like I said, the 57 now driving mad, going to be aggressive to try to get back up, and again, hope he doesn't overdrive as she's actually just started mowing the grass, so she's pushing hard. But we'll cut back up to the front here, and you can see the 33, Josh Game, remember, hit the wall on the first lap, has recovered quite nicely, sitting in P4, now trying to make a move on Elias Flores. When one door closes, another window opens, and these drivers up front ready to take advantage of that.
Nobody challenging the Premier Racing Club driver of DJ Trout way up front, the Vitamin Water machine, happy to drive almost a second away from Pacey Wygen in position number 2. Pacey Wygen can still see that red bumper of the car in front of him, but how fast is he willing to strike? I think we're going to wait. He's going to have to wait and see and be patient about that one. Best battle on track right now is between that 99 and the 33. Flores Gaiman battling back and forth. Flores doing very conservative driving out here, trying to be a defensive driver out there. With Joshua Gaiman all over his back bumper. He says, where you go, I'm going to go. And I'm going to try to get in there faster and force you to make the error so I can quickly make the pass.
Gaiman's got to be careful, though, at the very least. He's got to make sure he doesn't overdrive or make mistakes. We know he's someone that likes to push hard, but sometimes can be his own worst enemy here. He's got a chance to make a move here as we ride aboard with Ruby Nekamata, who was also kind of held up with that little contact between the 57 and the 4, and is now trying to capitalize as well. Gaiman will be patient, will get the job done, will gain a spot. Now Ruby Nekamata going to try to follow Elias Flores, our stage 1 winner, past here. Cannot get it done, will have to sled up to another spot here. But I'm still keeping an eye on Constantino. She is basically pushing that machine very hard here. She is fighting that car, and I've seen it get loose on multiple occasions here. She is throwing that thing in every corner, just trying to find time to get back up.
Everyone said, every driver we talked to quite a few, every one of them said as another driver goes off track there, that's going to be the 50 of Lilac Zier. We'll come back to her in a moment. Everyone said that Constantino was going to be the favorite here, that she has alien speed and can just absolutely wheel the hell out of that car. That one incident definitely hurt her feelings, definitely left her angry. You can see it as it reflects in her driving, trying to get around the 27 now, Selena Thompson. And I think she's at a point where she's not going to take any prisoners. At this point, it's either get out of the way or get wrecked out of the way. There is no choice here.
And the stage ends at lap 30, so we're 8 laps away from the stage breaking, and it's basically just a recovery drive. The closer you get to the front, the better chance when the field gets regrouped, you can make those positions up. So that's why she's pushing hard here. And look at that right there. 27 makes a slight mistake, maybe because of the 57's pressure. She'll get around, put her up one more spot, up to 14. Next up, Carmen, Sienna, and the 4, Rudy Valentin. So if that 57 gets back up to that 4, you know, no love lost. But obviously, let's not take away from the shine of DJ Trout right now. 1.76 clear of Pacey Wygen, doing his thing up front. There's Pacey Wygen, the driver that's been sneaky fast, and there's Josh Gaiman in 3rd. Don't want to obviously been focused on those 2, but these 3 doing the job they need to do and keeping those podium positions locked down.
Outside the top 5, Jeremy Braille took the turn a little wide. He's going to take this one wide as well, and that could definitely hurt him in position number 6. He won't gain on Elias Flores, but he may open the door for the 8 of Callie Height. Height doing everything she can to get onto the bumper of the 74 and possibly get around him to move closer and closer towards the top 5.
As you can see, we're riding aboard with Callie Height, being patient, but she's someone that's strong on the road courses. If we pulled her in here, her thoughts right now, she'd probably tell you that these road courses are her best chance of getting good results here. She's showing it right now where she currently is sitting in P7, but a hungry driver isn't going to just be comfortable with the position you give them. They want to get up towards the front farther and farther. Right now she's doing that. Good on the braking zone there. We'll close the gap to the 74. We'll see if she can set up a move here.
Lady Liberty driver trying to find some liberties as the 74 continues to struggle. Looks like the 74 made contact with that inside wall coming into turn number 1, and that's going to slow him up just a little bit. But also the 99 of Elias Flores got slowed up as well somehow. So we could see these 3 cars stacking up towards the end of this run.
Now right on board with the 57, just giving a shunt to the 18 spots where Seth Wanzi may just saw on the white side there. He made a mistake. He's off to the Drast here, so he went a little too aggressive to the corner. He'll lose a couple spots there. But Constantinu taking no prisoners here. She wants her thrown back, and you can see, again, get out of the way or I'll move you. That's kind of her IO right now. And that shows you the aggressive. The aggressiveness has hurt her as she's going to lose a lot of those spots she just gained. And now she's going to have to stay stationary waiting to make sure she's clear to merge back on. But that aggression has blown up in her face and she's basically back to where she just was.
He just lost 6 spots as a result of that spin. And again, it's coming into the chute there that she makes it. You can usually go a little wider going into that turn, but coming into the rumble strips there, she just took it too wide going off that last turn and into the chute. So that is going to effectively shoot her in the foot, as now she's got to make up 5 more positions.
My brain almost just went to a Rick Allen quote that you remember around Watkins Glen, but I thought better of it than saying it out loud. But following back to DJ Trout here, sitting in first position here. Gap is beginning to close a little bit as Wygent and Gaiman are reeling in this vitamin water machine here. And with 5 to go in the stage here, question is, can that 00 make a challenge on that 93?
Anything is possible on the track at this point. Let's follow along with those leaders right now as Wygent continuing to hold down position number 2. Last time by, he was 1.3 seconds away. So he's got to start whittling that gap down. He's got to do it in a hurry as time runs out. We're currently on lap 26. We're gonna have 4 more until we get to, or 5 more, I should say, until we get to the stage break. Wygent needs to cut down that lead this time by. If he's not able to, then he might not be able to make a challenge. You know who will, though? The 33 of Josh Gaiman.
Yeah, obviously Wygent, not a driver I had pegged to be strong on a road course. Definitely good at ovals, long ovals, like Fontana, Michigan, tracks like that. Not someone I've pegged at road courses. Josh Gaiman, on the other hand, is kind of quick at these road courses. I'd say right now, looking at the times here, he is the last time by, was the fastest out of the 3 in this pack. Worth noting, Ruby Nekomata was the fastest out of the top 4, though. So obviously Gaiman showing the speed here he needs, but if you can't get around a car, it doesn't matter how much speed you have.
You pronounced Fontana correctly.
Hey, I learned from the extra homework you gave me last week how to write it down 100 times on a chalkboard.
I will pronounce Fontana correctly. But you know who's also pronouncing it correctly is Josh Gaiman right now. Well, he's more pronouncing the track turn names very easily right now, as he's all over the back bumper of that 00 machine. Pacey Wygent doing everything he can to hold off the advancing 33. The carousel is coming up. We've seen that being a great choke point for passes before. Can Gaiman get into the carousel at a better clip than the 00 this time by? Do those S turns we go going into those turns? It will be the carousel this time by, and Gaiman, no. He's going to play the smart game. He's going to try to play the smart game of his own, and he's going to go down pit road.
Along with our race winner, DJ Trout, coming in as well. So both of them pulling the same strategy we saw in stage number 1. Pit before the stage end. Give up the stage points, but ensure you have a good starting position for the final stage. Make sure it's crucial. So that will hand the lead over to Wygent and Flores, and pit lane will close next time by if Wygent crosses the line. If not, Flores may try to go for back-to-back stage wins here. So we'll have to see how it plays on those cars. Trout, Gaiman, Nekomata, Height, Brault, Valentine, Wanzing, Zier, and Denny all in, but I think, again, Denny is with a long repair clock here. But all the other cars coming in, going for track position in the final stage rather than stage points.
Okay. So Pacey Wygent will take the lead This time out, Elias Flores, who won this stage number 1, will stay in position number 2. Eli Sasek, the other ascent driver, moves up to position number 3. Hunter Peach should move from 6th to 4th. And we've got a whole different race on our hands right now.
I think this should be worth noting. DJ Trout, obviously a race leader coming to pit lane, has had a long hold here, coming up to 43, 44, 45 seconds. We'll see if he got busted for speeding or something. Yeah, he left after 45 seconds here. I think he may have gotten a penalty for something, as he's now leaving the box here. So we talked about early in the race, it may have been easy to avoid speeding in the pit lane. Well, I think Trout may have got busted not knowing where the line was. Here's Pacey Wygent coming in the pit lane now. He will come in and will hand the lead over to Elias Flores, who will cross the line and will signify the pit lane closing. So Wygent will be the last car that can pit here without receiving a penalty before the stage ends.
Constantino back in 25th will move around the 50 of Lilac Zier to finish the stage, position number 24, as everyone now all over the track, positions changing left and right. Who is going to be your winner when it's all said and done? I believe right now, as it were right now, it would be Elias Flores in 99.
Yeah, Flores is looking poised to win the stage. Also worth noting as well, Josh Gaiman is the car that came out the farthest of the cars that pitted. So looking at the end of the stage here, seeing who will take the lead at the end of the stage, it looks like Josh Gaiman will take that lead. So Gaiman's crew and his speed gave him the virtual need to get ahead. Wygent going one lap later ended up hurting him. So Gaiman will take P1 when the stage ends. But Flores right now looking poised to win the stage. Sasek, his teammate, about 3.6 seconds back. It's going to be a Herculean task to close it up in a lap. But Flores in some lap traffic, anything is possible.
Flores right now riding on the back bumper of Richard Odie. Odie, I believe, is around. It's going to be the first car a lap down if he gets around, but it doesn't matter because Elias Flores, another Ascent driver, hits the summit on lap number 30. Caution comes out. Elias Flores, stage 2 winner, Ascent, going 1 and 2 in both stages.
Yeah, that was a lap early. We're supposed to. Yeah, that's supposed to be the next lap that's supposed to happen here. So that's the bailout for Flores here. Obviously, it was still well clear, but for some of the other drivers that were a little bit in a jostling position, like Henderson, Frazier, Sienna, Thompson, Nekomata, they were all kind of close. So that's going to be a bailout for some of them and maybe a curse for others. But Elias Flores, maybe a driver we didn't have pegged winning both stages, will win both stages and in turn, maybe have a chance to win this race as they will be kind of close to the front when we get to the final restart here.
Possibly close to the front when we get back to the restart. It'll also be interesting to see who comes down pit road this time by to take tires, to take fuel, and knowing they're going to have to come down at least one more time during the green flag to refuel and get ready and get back on track.
So we'll take a look at the unofficial results for stage number 2. Elias Flores doing the double, will win both. Eli Sasek, their teammate, will be in second. Hunter Peach in third. Chad Swatsworth, good recovery drive, got 10th in the first stage. 4th here. Blake Henderson, top 5 in the stage. Lily Frazier, 6th. Carmen Sienna, 7th. Josh Gaiman, 8th. Ruby Nekomata, 9th. And Selena Thompson, top 10. Good stage for Arrowhead Racing as all their cars, excluding Tommy Reynolds, occupy good amount of spots there, 4, 6, and 7.
Good stage for Selena Thompson, the Valfreya driver, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. She was quagmired back in traffic. She was one of those drivers that was passed by Constantino in her aggression to get back up front. Top 10, you can't beat that. You'll take the stage points any day.
Now pit road going to be a crowded place. You can see some cars staying out, others coming in. And it's a bit of if you came pitted before the stage break, obviously you're staying out. If you come in now, you come in out, but some drivers are going to risk it. But with the stage being about double what the first and the second stage was, there is a green flag pit stop that looms for this field if we don't see a caution. So those drivers staying out that did not come in at the previous stage break, going to have to come a bit earlier than the ones that came in before the stage break and coming in now.
So all the drivers that did not come down before the pit road closed, all getting service now. Elias Flores, Tommy Reynolds, Eli Sasek, Lily Frazier, Hunter Peach, Sad Swatsworth, Blake Henderson, Carmen Sienna, Zachary Meredith, Gary Donaldson, Tommy Withers, William Britton, DJ Trout, DeMonte Dodson, Alfred Denny, all down to the attention of their crews, looking for the same thing. Full tank of virtual Sunoco racing fuel and 4 brand new Goodyear virtual racing tires. That will yield the lead to Joshua Gaiman, the Marconi Speed Shop Camaro.
He came in for fuel only on his stop. 2 cars actually elected to not come in that didn't come in at the stage break. That was Dean Clavitt, currently sitting in 4th, and Emma Kruger, currently sitting in 6th position. They both want the track position to make their cars work. Also worth noting, the sun is now coming out, is peeking through the clouds here, becoming a lot less foggy.
Becoming a lot less foggy, meaning the track is getting a little grippier as we get ready to go again. So, here's a trivia question for you, Kevin, and everyone watching at home. Sonoma Raceway was previously called Infineon Raceway due to a sponsorship deal. What was its other name?
Ooh, I know this one. And obviously, if you go to Chicago, they had the similar. There was had a tower named after it, but ended up getting changed to the Willis Tower, and that would be Sears Point. Was the name of Sonoma Raceway before it obviously became Infineon and Sonoma Raceway. So Sears ended up sponsoring both the tower and this track, and now you can barely find a Sears across the United States.
That is correct, but do you know why it was called Sears Point?
That one, I can't directly tell you on that one. So, Joe, why don't you fill me in? Why was it called Sears Point?
Because Sears Point, where it's located at, is actually a landform that juts into the Pablo Bay out in Sonoma County. It's the southernmost peak of the Sonoma Mountains.
Oh, so it wasn't named after the store. It was just the mountains. Wow. Interesting fact there.
Geography is a wonderful and beautiful thing all at the same time.
Quite it is indeed. So we see the field kind of getting bunched up here. Should also be for noting as well, this is the last round of the West Coast swing that the HTL drivers have had to deal with. Obviously, they get the week off next week for Memorial Day weekend, and then they're going back to the East Coast for their racing. So hopefully they enjoy the sun, the surfing, and the weather of the West Coast, because they're going to have to get used to it. So you got to see right now, Sonoma Raceway, 596 miles away from the previous 2 tracks.
Be sure to join us as we go back racing on June 3rd for the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then we'll go to Homestead, Miami for the Miami 350, and then Atlanta Motor Speedway for the 350 in Atlanta. Should be a great time. June 3rd, 10th, and 17th, right here on ABN1.
Nice that they're going to pick up the virtual cruise right after the Champ Car machinery goes around there in real life. Can obviously go officials, and that here's the calendar as well, just to show you what it looks like through the rest of the rounds. Obviously, Iowa, the BFL 500 at Charlotte, Pocono. Next time we see a road course will be at Suzuka, Michigan, Talladega, Rockingham, Daytona RC, and Daytona before the playoffs start, and then Slingers, the All-Star race. I had snooker on the mind when I was trying to think of Suzuka there, but anyway, that is a little thought where my brain was going. But it looks like we're going to get ready to go green here again. Gaiman and Nekomata will be the front row with Clavitt and Breo in row number 2. And will there be any controversy going up the hill here like the previous 2 restarts we've seen?
It's the first time someone not named Constantino or Valentine have started on the front row. This could be the final restart of the night. Gaiman up front, Ruby Nekomata on the outside. Green flag about to fly for the 3rd and final stage. Let's go racing one more time from Sears Point in the heart of the Sonoma Valley.
Well, look at Ruby Nekomata. She went slow, spun the tires, she'll park it on the apex. You can also see Josh Arnold mowing the grass down there as well. He will also stop in 2. So luckily does not come back on the surface. Either of them end up hitting anyone that could have ended up. But look at Hunter Peach. He just mowed our stage 1 and 2 winner around. And look at the 17 of Zachary Meredith. He gets spun as well. So our stage 1 stage shooter, heavy damage. Hunter Peach also got some damage well. And we saw the 17 get spun. And that's Emma Kruger also off in the kitty litter. She got spun around as well. So very chaotic for some of these drivers that were looking poised to get some good runs. And now without the bailout caution on the stage, they're going to have to get on their giddy-up course and try to close up the gap.
A lot of drivers went around that time body. You heard it here. The 21 got around. The 99 of Elias Flores, stage winner, went around. The 21 into the interior turn. And the 1 who actually clipped the wall going off of turn number 1 ends up getting damage as well. Now more drivers going off to cut the grass. It's going to be the 00 Pacey Wygen right before the carousel goes off into the grass. Track and hits the wall, and now gets turned by the 27 and the 57 heavy damage. 11 now in heavy damage. This may cause a caution.
The 9 of Eli Sasson, 25 complaining about brake hole, and there's Carmen Sienna sideways as well. It's been a very chaotic first stage of the final stage here, as multiple cars have been spun around. That may take Constantino out of any chance of pulling this out here, as she had to jump the pits. That damage is very strong. So we're going to look at a lot of these replays here, and I think the first thing up the hill here is going to be the drivers, the one making a mistake here.
So let's start with the driver of that number 1 machine. That was Ruben Nakamata. And again, she just clipped the wall coming off turn number 1, so it made for an awkward entry into the turn. And that's going to send her away. Now let's watch the 99 gets turned around, as well as the 2. And I believe it's 18 of Chance Wadsworth involved in that one as well. So 4 cars, 5 if you include the 21 that you just see pass right there, get off into that incident. That 21, of course, is Kruger. And that will lead into the chaos going into the carousel.
Yeah, you can see Hunter Peachy kind of overcooked his corner, got right into Eli Flores and gave him a hip check. 17 ended up getting spun around. Now we're going to come further down the lap here, and you're going to see it kind of get a little bit argy-bargy here. As you can see, cars trying to get runs, make positions up. We know that 57 wanted to be aggressive, wanted to make up spots. She was just inside the top 10, so she knew she saw within striking distance with the pit stop looming, could get back in this thing. And then you can see right there, car kind of go a little bit wide. Then you can see Selena Thompson going slow into the corner here. And then you can see Constantino. Thompson just happened to be there and gave her the old heave lock there. And then Constantino didn't really hold the brake, got into the 27, cleared into the 11, who didn't hit the brake and got into the 9, that got into the 25. So some non-brake holding caused a little bit more chaotic, and 5 cars just to get some heavy damage there as well. But another 5 cars with some damage that they're going to have to come down and fix.
The 44 of Tommy Reynolds is calling it a race. He's going to pull it behind the wall after getting damage on the 44, normally driven by John Hagan, and that will end his race. Constantino is still on pit road. She could be the next one to pull it behind the wall for the night.
Watching the battle here for the lead, Josh Gaiman, Rudy Valentine fighting. We know Valentine had pole running speed, trying to make move. Gaiman gonna go defensive. Valentine gonna try to hang it on the I-side. I think I sense a crossover move happening here. Gaiman gonna hold it off nicely, but you know these top 3 have the speed, and Valentine wants their lead back, and they're gonna try to make a move here to make it happen.
Well, as you saw with Constantino, you cannot make, it's very difficult. I'm not gonna say you cannot do it, but it's incredibly difficult to try to make the pass on the outside through the carousel. You really have to gun the car very carefully in order to do so. So Valentine, I think he's trying to set up the 33 to pass in one of those different spots we talked about, coming out of the chute or going into the carousel. You see the 4 now making that move to try to get up to the back bumper of the 33. Not going to make it yet, but I know he's thinking it. Like blood in the water to sharks, so is the driving of the 33 to the 4 of Valentine.
You saw Elias Flores there kind of try to get out of the way there and almost got in the game in there. Could have played a factor there, but the 4 is still reeling in. They're starting to pull away from Jamie Braille. Quick thing to note as well, Constantino looks like she's had a connection failure. She hasn't pulled behind the wall on her own doing, but she is behind the wall right now. So Constantino is out of this race at the moment. So her race is effectively over as we see this battle for the lead shaking up. But Gaiman still holding on to the pressure here, but that 4 is trying to make that pressure crack him and make him go around.
Chat's going for control of the onboard of the 50 of Lilac Zero. We will definitely come back to her in just a moment as we watch this battle for the lead come together. Very interesting, the 33, the 4, not side by side, but definitely front nose to tail as they come through the S's this time by, and doing what they can, figuring out how they're going to do it. Now let's go ahead and go on board with the 50 of Zier.
Yep, the 50 of Zier right now, running in a position, obviously just trying to make a good race here. Currently 4th. Almost missed my eyes there. Sometimes she's doing quite well. P4 right there. Obviously, Braille up the road there by about a second, and Seth Wansing about 2 seconds back. So she's in a bit of an island right now. But hey, sometimes that's all you want to be at a road course. No pressure behind, no pressure in front. You can run your own race and get the laps you need to do. So we'll get a nice little shot of her helmet here. Nothing overly spectacular. Nice little purple and green color. But definitely overall nice little in-camera shots as well. No little trinkets, no little like Dale Jr. did in one of those plate races with a little skull thing on the dash. Just has a nice little inside of the cockpit. Nice.
The drivers having a little bit, aren't having such a clean time. The 74 of Jerry Braille is in position number 3 right now. The Petron Racing privateer is going to maintain the position number 3, but he's having a hard time keeping it going the right way. We've seen him slip and slide, especially around the back point here at what was known as Sears Point, Sonoma Raceway. he's not having a lot of, doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence in his car, so he's going to continue running third as long as he can, but it may only be a matter of time before he starts dropping off.
Yeah, I think he's going to want those fresh tires when he does come in, but there is that risk-reward situation with the green flag pit stops looming. Most of these top two are presumably going to go out with fuel only, and if Braille kind of needs those tires, he's going to lose a lot of time. So do you sacrifice possible track position for comfort? We'll have to see on that point, but obviously Braille had two second places in the past 3 rounds here, so definitely looking strong at the moment in the regular season point standings. Another podium would be great. To kind of quote what he said last week, finish on these podiums is definitely sucks, to use his word, and you don't want to have another podium if he can help it, as he's starting to drift really further back. He is now about 3 seconds back as these top two of Gaiman and Valentine putting on a masterclass, pulling away from the rest of the field.
Look, you may not want the podium. Everyone wants a trophy. Everyone wants to be the top guy standing in victory lane. But it's a 33 now, spins the tires, opens the door for the 4. One of these two drivers is going to end up probably on the podium. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because podiums and consistency wins championships. The more consistent you are throughout the regular season, the better position you will be when the chase comes around.
And at the same point, we know Valentine's running a part-time road course strategy, so they are just looking for the flag. They want the trophy. As with 33 at Gaiman, knowing how sometimes he has up and down luck, getting a win right now would give him a huge sigh of relief that he doesn't have to worry about his luck. Even if he runs poorly the next 10 rounds before the chase starts or the playoffs start, he doesn't have to worry about that as long as he can just keep putting on okay races. So it's kind of a good reprieve. Gives you your momentum back when you win a race. So both these drivers trying to hang on, and Gaiman right now surviving the pressure at the moment, but within 25 to go, can he keep that going?
Remember, they are going to have to take a green flag pit stop. They don't have the gas to run the entire length of the third stage. Yeah, fuel cell is only good for 24 to 27 laps. So if they had a caution flag, if they had a full track caution, then maybe you could stretch it out. But as it stands right now, the 33 burning tires going into the carousel, he is going to have to address those flat spots here pretty soon, and he's going to have to come down for 4 tires and fuel. The question is, when do you do that, and when do you do it in a way that stops the 4 from advancing?
Yeah, it's worth noting. Gaiman does not hit for tires at road courses. He's told me before in other series he runs it and he does it. He does not believe in the tire supremacy, so he's going to run those tires to the end. But if he keeps flat spotting them and locking them up into corners, that's going to really hurt him. So he has to back down just a bit. But when you have a big Sour Patch machine behind you filling up your mirrors, it's easier said than done with that pressure. And you can see right there, they're going to put a car a lap down there as they'll get out of the way. I think that was a 78. Will get out of the way there, but at least clean track for a while for these two. And now Braille under pressure here from, actually, no, still got a little bit of distance from Lilacs here, but just kind of holding their own in third place.
0.4 of a second was the gap between Valentine and Gaiman last time around. Let's see if Gaiman can navigate these carousel a little easier this time and not put so much pressure on those tires. I think the biggest thing he wants to see right now, there it is. He's going to have to go down pit road this time by. And will he get tires? That's a $64,000 question. Meanwhile, the number 4, the Ghost Energy Machine, is going to ghost Gaiman as Rudy Valentine will end up with the lead.
Makes you wonder what the $250,000 question is, $500,000 question is, and the $1 million question is. But maybe I'll get those answers questioned as we continue on these broadcasts. But the 33 coming in, we'll see if he takes 4 tires, fuel only. You can see Carmen Sienna had to jump the pits as well in that pit box. This is time you don't want to make a mistake. Do not want to miss your box as he is going for the undercut here, keeping on his times. If he leaves right about now, no tires will be taken, and he is away. So it is going to be fuel only to the finish. The 33 feels confident his tires are good enough, and he wants that track position. And now, if you're the 4 and the 74, you got that in the back of your mind. You know that 33 did not take tires. Do you take tires on the stop and have a better chance to run them down? Or do you say, take your track position and be on the same strategy if you think you can beat him on pure pace?
I think it's a matter of how far ahead you are. If not, I mean, this is not a track where you take 2 tires and hope for the best. This is a track where you take 4 tires or nothing, because the last thing you want is that imbalance in your car going left, then right, then left all over again. Valentine this time by comes down pit road after leading 1 lap. So that's the big question. Is this going to be a 4-tire stop for Valentine, or will this also be fuel only?
Jeremy Braille also in, will join the thing. And worth noting as well, also Seth Wansingen as well, it's about a 7-second difference if you take fuel only in comparison to 4 tires. So that 7 seconds can't be crucial, and especially with Gaiman getting that undercut by about half a lap, it could play a factor here. Zero will also take the lead as these cars pit here. But in the box, keep an eye on that left side of your screen on those dimes. Braille in first with a farther pit stop. We'll see if either take tires. And right now, I can report that Braille fuel only. Same thing with Valentine. Valentine with a quick stop, though, in the under the 7s. Braille over the 7s. And we'll see how they merge.
2 more drivers retiring after that incident. Let's go in front now as we go challenging the lead.
Valentine pulled out right in front of Gaiman, stopped to perfection. That 6.97 may have been enough to leapfrog the 33, but the 33's got some fresher, warmed-up tires here. He's going to have to make the move and make it now if he doesn't want to stick behind. They'll also have the 20 ahead, being a pick if needed. We'll see if the 33 is going to be aggressive here, coming into the corner. He will not. He will ride behind right now at the moment, but you know that 33 is itching. He can't allow that 4 to get in a rhythm because he could drive away.
Very easily could drive away. And the last thing you want to do is give up the race on pit road, knowing that you had it. Both great stops by both those drivers. Now it's a matter of who wants it more and who can manage the cars underneath them. 2 more retirees to tell you about: Carmen, Sienna, Chris Findell, both pulled behind the wall after getting involved in that incident. The start stage number 3. Now all eyes are on the 4 and the 33.
Yeah, the 33 maybe willing to throw the bumper if needed. Good exit there. Well, good entry, not a good exit. Loses a little bit of time, allows the 4 to get some distance here as they cross the line. A few more cars came in, but Zier and Blowers still 1 and 2 at the moment. With 21 laps to go, they will have to pit. With Blowers coming at 17, Zier at 27. Zier can go a little bit longer if needed. I think she's obviously, a caution wouldn't help her out if it came out, so she's just hoping for some pandemonium or some craziness happening between the 4 and the 33 and allow her maybe to leapfrog that one.
We've seen craziness happen on this track before. We've seen crazy happen on all parts of it, so it's not out of the question. And the whole thing is, how are these drivers going to manage the cars underneath them? How are these drivers going to manage what they have? Now, once they come down pit road, that's it. Unless calamity happens, they're not coming back.
Yeah, you're not coming back at all. See right there, Valentine will inherit the lead, just in case you were tuning in late. Once Wyjet, Blowers, and Zier all pit. I'm riding on board right now with Gaiman, my own perspective. I'm just listening to the throttles, and right there, he's going to get a run. The 4 is going to cover it off. Gaiman going to have to go the long way around here, maybe try to do a switcheroo.
There's switcheroo. He wants it. The 33 had to lock up the tires because he came in so hard. He's unable to make the pass, though, at turn number 12. And we are back in position, and we are back where we started. The 4 ahead of the 33.
Or good defensive move there on a road course. Cover it all, said, this is my line. You're going to have to go around the long way if you want to get around. That's what you need to do sometimes at a road course. And 33, more importantly, hit the wall there at the start-finish line. Just a minor scrape. Did not really hurt the time on it. No real damage. But that shows you how hard that 33 is pushing to try to get a run on this 4.
Pushing as hard as he can to try to get around the 4 and ultimately take the provisional lead away. Lilac Zier still in front. Bobby Flowers second. So the third place driver, I did come down pit road that last time around. So now
Pacey Wyjet.
Flowers. Pacey Wyjet,
yep.
Thank you. Pacey Wyjet came down pit road last time by. So now Zier and Flowers doing everything they can to hold off and try to extend this run as best they can in order to run for the lead.
Like I was saying earlier, they're just hoping for chaos between the 4 and the 33, because if they, let's say, collide, they make a mistake or something and lose time, the gap between Zier and Peach's pits right now is about 22 seconds. Now to Braille is about 22 seconds. Knowing a delta around here is about 42, 43 in the pit lane time. They'll come out a little bit of ways away, but it's a lot easier to make up 22, being about half behind than being 3/4 behind. So Zier and Blowers playing the long game, hoping for some magic here to happen. Hey, we've seen stranger things happen at road courses. Look at what happened between our pole sitter and the other driver on the outside of the front row with the 4 and the 57.
Anything can happen at Sonoma. It is one of the 4 wild card races that we are going to have on the schedule this year for the HTL Cup Series. Sonoma being the first of them. Lilac Zier doing everything she can so far to hold it, to hold that very well, and to maintain her position up front. Probably Blowers doing the same thing. Last time around, it was a 15-second lead, plus or minus, that Lilac Zier had over Rudy Valentine and Joshua Gaiman. Zier continues to run laps on here. It may be a matter of how well she's able, again, manage the tires, manage the car, and keep coming up front. Whether she crosses the start-finish line, we'll get a better idea of if those two other drivers are catching her or not.
Yeah, indeed, right there. That lap car played a factor there a little bit. It's going to back up the 4, and now you can see Gaiman back rejuvenized here, try to get a run here, but still that 4 holding the nerve, holding the pressure. And now the 33 feels what the 4 felt before those pit stops occurred. And that just shows you how crucial that pit stop time was. And now the 33 getting close. We'll see what they can do.
A very interesting note here. Lilac Zier remains your leader. She picked up 0.2 of a second on Bobby Blowers, who's now 10 seconds behind. And the battle for the lead, effectively, Valentine and Gaiman, they didn't pick up any time. They're too busy fighting amongst each other for what could be the win out here. So watch those times. If those times continue to widen, if that gap gets bigger, that actually could play towards Lilac Zier's hand, because she may be able to get down on pit road, get in, get out, and still be in striking distance of these drivers.
Indeed. And we'll see if that plays in a factor. Gap is actually growing a little bit. They're actually going to catch Blowers here. If Blowers doesn't pit soon here, gap is about 3 seconds to the 2 of them. But look at the 4. It goes a little bit wide there. Gaiman tried to back up the corner. Did not want to follow the 4 off the cliff. Just a little bit too far back, but a lock up by the 4. 33 is going to get into the bumper. Going to be side-by-side off the chute here. And that's the opening the 33 needed. They'll be side-by-side coming across the line, but the 4 still going to hold the nerve and gets away, luckily there, with the lead back in their possession.
So the 33 definitely has the speed in the corners. The 33 is cornering better than the 4, and I think the 4 is just getting nervous doing all that rear view mirror driving at a road course where you need to keep your eyes up front. The problem, though, is for the 30, he goes sliding, he goes sliding, he misses a turn, and that is a major unforced error for the 33.
Was listening to it, it broke under pressure and it kicked out. That was a braking problem. Looks like the rears may have locked just a bit. The car got squirrely. He tried to correct it, and at that point, it was too little, too late. Gaiman gonna lose at least a couple seconds there. Down 6 seconds now to Valentine, and more importantly, Zier is now coming into the pit lane right now. So Valentine had the pressure, held on to the provisional lead here, and now with Zier pitting and presumably Blowers coming in sooner rather than later, Valentine now kind of has to maintain the gap and make sure not to do anything silly.
Lilac Zier will come into pit road this time by as you watch the 12 battle it out with the 27 there. Now she'll come down to pit. She will come down to pit lane, and the lead will officially get handed over, I believe, to the 12 of Bobby Blowers.
Yes, indeed. Blowers will take it. Obviously, Blowers last pitted on lap 17, and Valentine was closing the gap. I noted it was about 3 seconds. If Blowers keeps staying out, that gap's going to close quicker and quicker and quicker, and we'll have to see how it plays. Gaiman just made another mistake, by the way. He is pushing hard here to try to get back, as that is affecting him right now, that mistake. And you got to get out of your head in these situations. You got to try to re-roll your brain and say, all right, I made the mistake. Can't let it affect me, and get back on the horse. But here's Blowers again, about 2.5 clear, now 1.5 clear. You can see that 4 in the screen now. And Blowers maybe just has to kind of cut his losses here and admit defeat and come on in.
The unforgiven driver in the 12-213simware.com Ford Mustang. Again, if nothing else, for confidence, for pride, you have to run up front as long as you can. The problem is the 4 of Valentine, all is straight up behind him, is definitely going to start wearing on him and possibly force him to make an unforced error as well. The 12 will stay out this time by, but look at that. The 4 has all but caught up to the 12, and now it's only a matter of time. The Ghost he's going to have to give it up to the Ghost eventually.
Yeah, this traffic is helping Gaiman a bit here, keeping an eye on his times. He cut it down just a bit, but with that better runoff, though, Valentine will re-extend the lead here. So we'll see if Valentine, how much pressure. There's Selena Thompson, by the way. Almost got into Blowers, almost got into Valentine. Could have been a bit of a domino effect, but both will keep it clean and keep their noses clear with 15 to go. And now Valentine doesn't have to press here with the gap being about 4.5 seconds, doesn't need to force something, doesn't need to make anything too aggressive, risk a penalty, risk damaging the car, just need to wait it out here and not risk any mistakes. And you see a car that's William Britton going off will now come back on the track.
Another retiree, this time it will be the 21 of Emma Kruger, another Unforgiven driver who was filling in for Marcus Chafin this week. So another driver out on the field as Rudy Valentine continues to run all of close to the 12 of Bobby Blowers, ready to take the lead when Blowers comes down pit road.
You can confirm right now Bowers is coming in this time by. There he will pull on in. That will inherit the lead to the 4. This is not what Gaiman wanted to see. He wanted Blowers to go a little bit longer, maybe inherit a little bit of position battling to give Gaiman a chance as the gap's now down to 3.5. But right now the 4 has clean track ahead of them. Only real threats is Tommy Withers coming out of pit lane right now. You'll see him on the left side of your screen, but Gaiman's got a little bit more clean track. And looking at the times last time by, Gaiman said a purple sector 4. He is hauling it right now, and he is trying to get back, praying, hoping for one more chance to get that a battle for the lead again.
He picked up 2 seconds that last run on Rudy Valentine. So Valentine has plenty to worry about right now. Valentine's not out of the woods. They still have to really worry about the 33 of Gaiman, the Marconi Speed Shot machine. That's going to be the big factor for the 4 machine. Can the 4 outlast the 33, or will the 33 just work his way up through the field and ultimately get back to challenging for the lead?
Gaiman gonna have a hand out the window moment there with Withers. Withers kind of cut his line off there, and that's gonna cost him at least half a tenth. But there's the 17 of Meredith, another car ahead of there. Can't mark out who that is. I think that's Dean Clavitt, and actually it's Gary Donaldson. And Gary Donaldson will get around quickly, and now the 17 once clear of this battle. The next car up the road. Oh, Donaldson spins it right in front of the race leader, and luckily won't hit anyone or anything. Get it fired back up. But to kind of finish my point there, the 4 now has a lot of clean sailing to the 11, who's about a sector clear of the 4 question.
Last time by, not great for Joshua Gaiman. He's now only 3 seconds away. You know he wanted to pick up a little bit more than that last time by, but sometimes you just got to be at the mercy of what's around you. Still 3 seconds, not an insurmountable run.
Here's a little bit of battle, a little bit further back between Zier and Braille. That's battling for the last step of the podium. Zier's strategy actually working out quite a treat here, as she has inherited 3rd place, and she's trying to hang on. So going long in the tooth there played out for both her and Blowers. Blowers is also P8, so net gain for both drivers going long in the tooth. And now, even though neither took tires, they can take advantage of this and run lightly cooler tires. Maybe try to make something happen. Here's Callie Height getting around Tommy Withers, who's a bit slow on the outside.
So Lilac Zier, Jeremy Braille, all still in the mix right now. Callie Height in the mix right now in that number 8 machine as well. So top 5 has definitely shaken up, but all eyes still remain up front. Rudy Valentine in the 4. Josh Gaiman, the 33. Let's see what the run is this time by. Rudy Valentine will cross the start-finish line to score lap 51. Behind him, the gap between him and Gaiman, or between her and Gaiman, is 2.7.
Personal best for Josh Gaiman there, a 14.82, a 15.04 for Rudy Valentine. A good lap for her too. Not a personal best, but she is keeping the pressure here and making it work. So Rudy Valentine, he is doing quite well here, and now he knows, he sees the pressure, sees the thing moving on now, and knows that 33 is closing, knows the gap's closing, and he has to put the foot down here. So maybe it was taking a little laxation, but now seeing that 33 get bigger in the mirrors, putting the foot down.
Tombstone Motorsports could score a big coup right now in their ringer driver coming in. Valentine doing everything he can to make sure that Tombstone gets the win tonight. But Gaiman, the 33, he's kind of just driving the wheels off this thing, man. You got to give credit to the Valfreya Motorsports driver. He is doing everything he can to catch up to the 4, and it's working. He still has plenty of time. There's 12 laps. And again, it takes about a minute 15 if you're fast to get around this track. So plenty of time for Gaiman to come back and challenge for the win.
Another driver having a good run here is Callie Height and Steph Wansing. Obviously, Height, we know, is strong at road courses. Steph Wansing, though, all right at road courses. Never really showed me that potential in A-squared. Right now, running P6, so definitely a good drive. Needed a good recovery drive for the past couple weeks. He's doing a great job. Here's the in-shot of Callie Height. Now Steph Wansing riding on board with. This battle is looming. One of these two drivers looking poised to get a top 5 here.
anything is possible at this juncture. The other driver who, despite not having a lot of confidence in the car, is the 74 of Jeremy Brault. He's having a great run tonight, currently sitting position number 4, just ahead of Callie Height, Seth Wansing on the outside of that. Ruby Nekamata, who started on the front row, or restarted this stage on the front row, is now moved up to position number 7. An effective eternity between your top 2 and everyone else in the field, but still a lot of great racing and a lot of positions to pick up as we continue racing.
Yeah, and right now the gap is stabilizing between our top 2 here. Valentine, he is running good laps here. Last time by dead heat between Valentine and Gaiman, as we're going to come to 10 to go, about 20 miles remaining. Puff of smoke, that was the 11 of Lily Frazier locking up her tires, and she will now get out of the way here and concede the 33. So across the line, we'll keep an eye on the times. I think Valentine's going to set a blistering one here. 14.86 for Valentine, a 14.84 for Gaiman. Gaiman slightly faster with a purple sector 1 to his name, but still not enough to really cut into that gap. Now he's got to quickly get around the 28 of Matthew Boone.
Time ticking down. Only 10 laps left, and yes, there is time, but the problem is there may not be enough time. The next car that the 4 has got to contend with is the 31, the rookie driver DeMonte Dodson in the American Airlines Alfreya Motorsports machine. The question is, can he hold off the 4? You know, it's not about him at this juncture. It's not about what he can do. It's about, is he going to let the 4 around and let him race? And he will this time by, actually. So Valentine will not have anything to worry about in dispatching that car. Joshua Gaiman, though, that's not what he wanted to see. He wanted to see a little bit more of a battle and let the race come to them a little bit, but not going to happen. Valentine continues to run the lead.
Especially considering, I believe, yeah, the Matsumatsu was trying to stay on the lead lap here, so that could have been, it was in convention, they could have fought Valentine, but they decided not to fight, just get out of the way there. Don't want, if you're in that same situation, you kind of want that same respect back, so kind of paying it forward if that situation ever gets reversed. But 9 to go here again, better lap there for Valentine. He was a 15.9, a 15.33 for Gaiman, so give the advantage that time by to Valentine, as he was quicker in his Ghost Energy machine here. So still 9 to go here. Gaiman, the other worry he's got to worry about, burning up his stuff, as he's been pushing hard here consistently. If he overheats those tires, it could be curtains before we see the end.
Oh, Valentine is absolutely energized right now. He is driving this very effectively. He's managing the car very well. We haven't seen him lock it up since he was battling with Josh Gaiman back there a while ago. So Rudy Valentine right now has everything to lose and everything to gain all at the same time. Both these drivers have a lot on the line, and it's really about who can be the better wheelman when push comes to shove here in about 8 laps.
Being a wheelman is definitely, or a wheel woman, obviously both are male, so real man in this case. But, you know, a lot of different genders in this field. But anyway, though, you can see Odie getting out of the way as well there. Going to concede the spot here. Going to be another car that isn't going to affect this battle. Next cars up the road will be the 2, the 18, and the 9. 2 multiple down, but the 18 and the 9 on the lead lap, so they could fight again, but no allegiances to these 2 cars of battles. We cut a little bit back here. Seth Wansing and the 1 fighting for position. I think Wansing kind of knows here. Look at that car mow the grass back there. But anyway, the 1 is going to get the spot here. I think Seth Wansing knows, hey, a P7 is better than a P6, knowing that 1 has got faster speed and fresher tires.
Now, here's what you don't want to see among all 5 of those drivers. Rudy Valentine continuing lead, obviously. Joshua Gaiman lost time that time, lost 1/10 of a second to the 4 of Valentine, then back towards the rest of the field. The only close battle is between Lilac Sear, 20 seconds behind the leader. The 3 seconds behind her is the 74 of Jerry Brault. Everyone else at least 3 to 4 seconds between every driver, so the field is getting more and more scattered. And as it gets more and more scattered like that, the problem becomes less about how do I pass and more about how do I capitalize if somebody makes a mistake in front of me. Like the 18 is in front of the 4.
Oh yeah, 18 spun it right there. That's going to back up the 4. Race is on. It's under a second now. That mistake, and the 4 actually has damage. Look at that front end. That's what Gaiman wants to see right now. That is the raw stake. And now the question is, we saw Emma Kruger. She had similar damage, and the steering was slightly bent because of the damage. I think we'll have to take a look exactly what happened. Hopefully we'll see it in a second. But the 4 is going to have the toughest 7 laps of their life trying to hang on with a car that could have steering damage.
Let's go back down to show you what happened between the 4 and the 18. Going into the carousel, the 4 had the run, locked it up, or the 18 locked it up in front of the 4, did not have, got some wobbles coming on the outside, then lost it as the car snapped, going straight into the 4, nowhere to go for 4, and he's going to get front end damage as a result.
Oh, you hate to see that right there. That is just something the 18's gone to fight, trying to keep, because he's battling the 9. He just got a little loose, and the 4 just happened to be there. That is terrible luck, but still not out of this race yet. It's still drivable, going a little wide, though, but the 4 is now going to have to change their line, change their demeanor, and not let that happen. But if this 4 can hang on, I'll say one thing, that is going to be a cool race-winning victory die-cast, if I do say so myself.
You know, and it's not uncommon that that the 4 can run continually up front and continue to run fast. We saw Emma Kruger do it at the beginning of the race. Without a front end, she kept that car going as fast as she could and had a top 5 going for quite a while. But it's all, we have no idea how much damage a 4 has on it. We have no idea if the steering's been affected or the chassis has been affected as all. So now all we have to do is figure out what can the 4 do. See what the 4 can do with a wounded duck and see if he can still bring it home with 6 to go.
The one positive is he will not have to pit, as there is no beat ball, no red flag, no orange flag of justice. He can continue on for the next 6 laps. So it will not be taken out of his hands. It's up to him to hang on to the position if he wants. But now this 33 re-energized. You were about 3 seconds back, just hoping for one more chance. Well, you got it, son. Take advantage and try to strike if you think you can.
That's if Valentin gives him the opening, but she may be forced to, again, depending on how much damage that 4 has on the front end. Into the carousel they go. This is where we had the problems earlier. The 33 dives it onto the back bumper of the 4, decides discretion is a better part of valor. Not going to pass him this time, but Gaiman smells the blood in the water. Gaiman is hungry, and Gaiman is poised to get that lead.
But Gaiman can't get the red mist. If it overfills him, he could easily make a mistake like he did about 15 laps ago, where he ended up overlocking the brakes. He's got to make sure he keeps it on the track here, because if you make a mistake, you ain't reeling that car back in with 5 to go here. So he's got to keep it clean, and the 4 mounts the curb just a bit, could open the door for the 33 here, coming down to the long of the chute.
Again, it's about what can I do? Where can I make those passes? Where can I force the driver in front of me to make an error and take advantage? There are a few passing spots on this track that run so well. And the 33 knows where those passing spots are. We've seen him run through traffic. We know he's competitive in there. So now all he has to do is time it so he can get to one of those passing zones and make the pass clean to try to get this win.
If I had to guess, I think this corner we're coming up to, not this one, but the final one, is going to be his best chance. That is where he's shown the strength. He's late on the brakes, and he's willing to do it. So I think if he's going to make a move, this is going to be it. You see the 4 go a little bit wide. We'll see if the 33 tries it. He will not. A little lockup by the 4, though, is going to open the door for the 33. They're going to have a fender there, but not going to be able to get the run off. They're also going to get some lap traffic here. The 90 of Dean Clavitt and the 9 of Eli Sasek just up the road, and maybe they'll also catch Flores and Sosi before this thing is through.
And that could create some drama and create some problems for both those drivers. The 4 and 33 almost make contact going into turn number 3 and 4 there. The 4 and 33 doing everything they can to keep it going the right direction. You can tell the 33 is starting to get a little frustrated here. He knows he can be faster than the 4, but the 4 just has that better straight line speed than the 33 does right now. Frustration mounting. Gaiman will not take a dirty move to get the 4 out of place, but if he sees a 4 make a mistake, he wants to be able to jump on it, be able to be poised for action, and be able to make that move when it happens.
Yeah, Gaiman is not a driver of dirty. He'll give you a bump if he thinks he can get a run, but he will not dump you for a spot that is not in his I.O. Same thing with Rudy. Neither driver is willing to do that. They will have a clean race here to the finish. As clean as you can be fighting for the finish here. But coming to 4 to go here, Valentin gets the better straight line lunge here. 33 going to be even harder on the brakes, but just can't get the fender in. again, I just feel like if a move's going to happen, he may wait till the final lap, but it's going to be through that corner trying to get a drag run off.
The carousel is the best, so far, his strongest part of the track. We've seen him make passes there. The problem is, he just can't seem to close the deal when he gets up there. He can't seem to get on the back bumper of that Ford machine. Even though it's wounded, he still can't get on the back bumper, and that's got to be weighing on him. It's got to be frustrating him. You see it in the way he's driving. He knows he can get around the floor. He just has to set it up, and so far, no dice.
That car is very aggressive right now. I'm hearing his tires. I'm riding on board with him. He is squealing those tires through every corner almost. He's not going to have any rubber left on him, but he doesn't care. He wants the trophy, and he's willing to make it as aggressive as he needs to. But again, if you teeter on that line of aggression, eventually you may fall off.
The last thing you want to do is teeter so far on the edge and you don't fall off. That's what we say in the wrestling business. Don't work yourself into a shoot. And that's the last thing Galen can afford right now. He doesn't want to overshoot his car. He wants to make a move past. Opportunities there with the lap traffic. Can he make it this time by?
No, he can't. Gaiman got a little loose here. Odie will not play a factor there, so Rudy Valentine is going to hold station there and going to get a little bit of distance. Going to grow up the gap here at about 8 tenths with 2 to go here. That is the breathing room that he needs to get some distance here. 2 more cars ahead the road here. It's the 9 and the 81. And then should be smooth sailing from here on out. So Gaiman needs those 2 cars to fight at least a little bit, and they are fighting for position. 81, though, knows the situation, not going to play a factor, and is going to get out of the way. Meanwhile, the 33 is really getting more and more loose here. The gap is now over a second.
Rudy Valentine continuing to lead as Gaiman now starting to catch up with lap traffic. 81 of Susie will go around in front of him, which is actually the best thing you can do for Gaiman. Gaiman now has some open track in front of him one more time. He's only got 2 to go, though, so if he is going to make the move for the win, he has to do it in the next lap and a half.
Here's a quick update. Jeremy Brett, who's running 4th, has towed to pit lane here. We're not going to see it because obviously we're focused on this battle for the lead, but his top 5 run is not going to happen. He has pulled it behind the wall, and that will promote Zier, Nekomata, Height, and Wanzek all up a spot. But coming through the last couple corners here, Gaiman just trying what he can to do, but I think right now he may have overcooked it. Coming through the last couple corners, we are about to see the white flag lap as Gaiman locks it up. Now going to lose another second.
Big loss for Gaiman. You know he's kicking himself for that mistake. You can tell in the way he's driving. He's got himself worked up. He's tilted out there, and that might have cost him the race. That might have cost him the win right there. 2.47 seconds of gap between him and Valentine. Valentine, all he has to do is keep it running straight, and he's got this win.
Yeah, easier said than done, though. A couple more lap cars play a factor here, and we saw what's happened to Chad Spotsworth in front of him, so he's just hoping maybe he's got the distance. He could back it up a little bit, not force the issue. You don't want a car looping in front of you, trying to get away and trying to get out of the way here. But coming through about halfway to the track right now, they are doing the good job, Valentine, and he's looking poised. He's not even going to try to make a pass here. He's going to sit behind and not risk it.
So Valentine not forcing lap traffic to get out of his way, knowing what's on the line. This won't lock him into the playoffs, but it is for pride, and it is for some bonus points for Tombstone Motorsports to win the Owners' Championship. Through these curves one more time, and into the carousel, Rudy Valentine goes. Unless something crazy happens in front of him with these 2 Ascent drivers, which it looks like they're both clear, Valentine will go through the carousel, through turn 12 for one more time, and go ahead and pre-order your diecast, Kevin. He's going to take away the win here at Sonoma.
Can't be mad about that. Had the lead and ended up getting involved in an incident, and luckily, even though that car, we'll hear from the interviews if we hear from him, would love to hear if that car was any damage or affected the performance or the steering, but if it did or if it didn't, he drove the wheel off that thing, and even Gaiman's tipping his hat to the 4 in the battle they had. So Rudy Valentine wins from pole, had a very up and down day. Obviously, first stage, had that mistake, dropped back. Second stage, contact with Bianca Constantinu, kept their head down, and they end up winning this race. So good job by the 4, and we'll see what he has in the celebration book and see what he can do here. As you see Gaiman and the 4 of Rudy Valentine, they both will end up kind of showing their respect for the battle and tip each other's hats to each other.
Blake Henderson, he also gave his driver a bit of a love tap on the back, saying, good job getting the Tombstone Motorsports machine in position number 1. So the boss giving him a little bit of credit there. All in all, a well-fought race for the 4. And, you cannot be upset with him at all. That was just incredible racing from start to finish. He had complete control over the car, over the track, and he was really, really happy with how he was able to make this car work. So you got to give him credit. He arguably had the best run of the entire race, and now he gets to celebrate for it.
I mean, he is going to burn it down. And you can see even Sosi tips a little bit of respect to that 4 as well. Can't say he didn't earn it with the drive he had here today, taking it from pole position the flag. He's the first driver to take pole position and win this race this season, but now he is going to celebrate like there's no tomorrow. I also want to take a quick shout out to Lilacs here as well. Great strategy call that she had, and staying out a little bit long, and she ends up getting a podium position for her troubles as well. So good call for her to make that strategy work. All eyes on Rudy Valentine. The road course ringer is going to help that 4 in the owner points. So he is going to burn it down with some celebratory donuts. Maybe he'll wash it down with a little ghost energy.
Rudy Valentine smoking it out, burning it down at the start-finish line. Your winner here in Sonoma. He'll take the big chug of wine, maybe a ghost with it. You never know. It's a long night. Still plenty of partying to be had. We'll go over your finishing order in just a moment. Before we talk to your top 3 drivers who finished in an incredible race, incredibly up and down race all night long.
Honestly, I don't know if a ghost energy would go well with a glass of wine, but different strokes for different folks at the very least, as Valentine's actually just going to take it the pit lane here. So as we see the Sonoma countryside here, we'll take a quick look at the results here. Rudy Valentine with your race win. Josh Gaiman tried all he could, but couldn't get the job done, but will still be happy with a P2. Lilacs here rounds out the podium with Ruby Nekomata 4th, Kelly Height with a good drive, top 5 for her. Seth Wansing 6th, Bobby Super Sub Blowers 7th, DJ Trout, good recovery drive from the speeding pedal, gets 8th. Pacey Wygen, again after that mistake at the final stage, gets to 9th. And Hunter Peach had an up and down day, will round out the top 10. And Joe, take us through the rest here.
Eli Sasek finishes 11th. Joshua Susi, despite being a lap down, will finish in 12th. Dean Clavette, 13th. Chad Swatsworth, after having that incident, will be 14th. Selena Thompson, 15th. Gary Donaldson finishes 16th. Zachary Meredith, Elias Flores, who won a stage, 17th. Blake Henderson, 19th. And Matthew Boone rounds out your top 20. Going further down the field, Jeremy Braille, Richard Odie, DeMonte Dotson, Josh Arnold, Willie Frazier, your top 25. Tommy Withers, William Britton, Emma Kruger, Chris Findell, and Carmen Sienna, the top 30. Final drivers running this field, Bianca Constantino were forced to retire. Tommy Reynolds, Austin Mongold, Alfred Denny, and Ruby Estes finishing out the 35 drivers on this race. Ignore 36. He's a bum and didn't show up.
I mean, I was going to say he was doing a great job driving while commentating there from inside the car, had to deal with all the heat there. But I think we're going to hear from the interviews here, so why don't we do it a little bit different here since I got the voice. Joe, why don't you interview our 3rd place driver?
Our 3rd place driver, we can do that. Lilac Zier finishing in 3rd position, and that's just smart driving you did all day long, especially when you took the pit stop later or after you had some distance on your drivers. How much did pit strategy contribute to your 3rd place finish?
Hi. Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, I tried to pit when I had traffic in front of me, so I stayed out longer than some of the others because I had clean track still and tried to push hard during that time. And I came out, once I pit, then I came out right behind 74. So I gained a little bit of time on him and was able to pressure him into, I think he just started getting bad exits, and I was able to go deep into the right-hander before the S's and clear him. And then it was pretty calm from there, except for some lap traffic. But they were pretty respectful and let me by. I might have dive bombed them a little bit too, but hopefully not too bad. But yeah, I had to recover from my early mistakes, which, well, stage 1, I think someone may have ran into me, but it wasn't really that bad. It just happens because we were all in close quarters.
I wanted to ask you about that. In the early stages, especially the beginnings of 1 and 2, we saw a lot of close driving, a lot of aggressive driving. Did that get in your head at all? And was there one point you're thinking, all right, I may not walk away with a good finish here?
Uh, a little bit, but I just decided to pivot my strategy because I was going to stay out for stage points both stages, and instead, stage one, I ended up doing that and getting fifth, I think, in the stage, and it worked out for points. Because a lot of people did pit before the stage, so I flipped it on them, even though I had that spin, and I got some points. Then stage two, I spun myself, and it was way out of the stage points, and I thought, well, they might pit, but they might not, so I'm gonna pit, and then it's kind of a mixed bag there, and some people did, some people didn't, and I didn't realize that some people could stay out at the stage and still do it on one more stop. So they had a shorter stop, I think, or no, they had track position from one less stop, but then their pit stop was a little bit more fuel, or they had to do it earlier than I did. So in the end, it kind of worked out pretty good, my strategy, but I was worried about it for a little bit there.
This is the first of 4 road courses we're going to see in the series this year. Are we going to see more podiums or potentially a win for you and the 50 team?
Oh man, I would love to win on a road course. I'm pretty okay at them. I like them a lot. There's always a couple people who are just way faster than the whole field, but maybe with some luck, I can get up here again. I'm excited about Suzuka because it's the East course, which means it's basically a straightaway and then just all S's, and that's going to be really intense. But I really like that layout, so yeah, I'm excited for all the road courses.
Lilac shout out time. Who makes it work for you?
Got to shout out Stepping Stone, James, team owner, all my teammates, the ones that were here tonight and the ones that weren't. Unfortunately, Bia had some bad luck. It was out of her control, I think, and had a bad race. I know she was looking really forward to this, and it's unfortunate that it didn't go their way. But and Emma too. Emma's my friend, and had some bad luck too, and just didn't get a good finish. But shout out to my friends who are watching and all the broadcast people who make it happen.
Lilac Zier finishing third here at Sonoma. Good congratulations on a great run tonight. I believe Kevin's caught up with our second place finisher, Joshua Gaiman.
Yes, I have. Joshua, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, it was a very eventful race for you, but let's start at the beginning here. Obviously, lap 1, you had that mistake. So kind of take us through your mind here. What you had to get back up on the horse and try again. So how did your strategy change after that first lap incident?
Strategy only changed because on the first stage I was planning on pitting at the stage and instead of before. Whenever I buzzed the tires off, I got loose and wrecked myself basically. I knew at that point I was like, okay, never mind, got to pit early, and it worked out. I think I got up to like 9th or something like that on the stage break. And I figured, why change it if it's working? Did it on the second stage there and got lucky and was able to restart in the lead there and just did what I could as long as I could really. I know Rudy's super fast. They're super clean though, so it was definitely a really really fun race. They just had way more out of the corners than me towards the end there, and I just had to try to send it as hard as I could.
You can't hate a driver that's pushing very hard there. Obviously, speaking of, at the final stage, you had the lead. You came in trying to do the undercut there. I assume that was part of the element, but then when Rudy came ahead of you, what was kind of going through your mind now that instead of being the chasee, you were the chaser?
Yeah, it was pretty much just kind of follow what they were doing because clearly they were catching me. So I did that, and then I started clicking off even faster laps and even faster laps. Um, it started working better for me, and eventually I think the tires just gave up. I think they took tires on the first pit stop there. I didn't take tires at all because me. Um, it could have given them just that little bit of edge, a little bit less tire pressure towards the end of the race, and you know just wasn't our night, but we got second place, and I mean with my luck lately, that's pretty much a win.
Definitely good to get the monkey off the back there. Moving on further through my questions here. Obviously, you saw that mistake that happened, and then that incident with Shad Swatsworth getting in front of Valentine. It basically was throwing red meat into the lion's den. Kind of takes those last 10 laps. Like, you obviously were going hard here, but did you have any plans if you got up? Were you going to maybe use the bumper if necessary? What was going through that last lap battle there with you and Valentine?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not afraid to use a bumper. I did a couple of times, but Rudy's a good driver and just kind of rolled through it and just had a good exit off the hairpin a couple of times I got to him. But it was just one of those things where once they got out there, I just knew I had to stay consistent, and I made a couple of mistakes. Luckily, with Shad, kind of, I guess he spun sideways and just locked the brakes down. But I mean, when you're behind somebody, it kind of just you're there, you're along for the ride. And I thought they would have had some wheel damage maybe, but they hit really square, so it just wasn't in the cards.
Indeed, you definitely put up a great fight there and made it interesting to the finish. But obviously, since it is ABN tradition, if there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, shout out McConey Setup Shop, uh, 213 Simware, W Energy. It's been a pretty long ride now, so no sense in stopping now. I'll actually I'll shout out Blake for that paint. He did a good job on it. It looks great. So you know, it got us where we needed to go tonight. And I'll shout out all the HTL guys for putting on a really fun show tonight. It was such a good race and a little chaos here and there, but it's Sonoma. What are you gonna do? And shout out to y'all for doing the broadcast.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Josh. You have a good Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully we'll be talking to you sometime in the future.
Hopefully.
And that was our second place finisher, Josh Gaiman. And it's going to move us on nicely to Joe, who's got our race winner. He is the driver that has gotten Tombstone its first victory in over 624 days. Joe, let's hear who that is.
Rudy Valentine. 624 days. They have to call in the ringer, but you get the monkey off their back. That's got to be a good feeling, Rudy.
Yeah, I mean, it feels especially good since I won without the nose there at the end. Surprisingly, the car felt totally fine. Also, I forgot to say thank you to Blake for letting me run with the team, Tombstone. I really appreciate it, and maybe this partnership wouldn't be isn't over. We may have some plans later.
Maybe the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as they say. Walk us through those last few laps. When we had the incident with the 18 at Swatsworth, what did you see? What happened there? And were you afraid the night might be over?
Um, well, I think it's pretty simple. He just lost it. It happens sometimes. Bad timing. I did think my race was over. I started getting paranoid at the end there, looking at the temps every lap and making sure that it wasn't blowing up because I got up to 240 on the oil temp and I got super worried there in the last 3 laps of the race.
You had an incredible run that saw you run from pole to pole, going into the race despite all the craziness. How confident were you that you might walk away with a big win?
Um, I think I gave myself around a 75% chance to win the race. I'm pretty confident uh on road courses in these cars. I do want to apologize though to Bianca. I accidentally turned her in there into one, and I guess other things happened. I was really hoping she could be there at the end, racing for the win with me, but I guess things happen and mistakes were made.
Now, you mentioned, last question, you mentioned that this may be the beginning of a beautiful friendship between you and Tombstone Motorsports. Are we going to see the name Rudy Valentine back in the HTL series this year? And more importantly, are we going to see Rudy Valentine be a winner at one of the other three road courses we're going to?
Um, that's what I have in my plans is to run. I have no plans other than maybe to run the next road course race or one of the other ones during the season. No plans further than that, but discussions can be made. Can be made.
And I'm sure those discussions are going to happen here sooner rather than later for you and everybody else out there. Rudy's shout out time. Who makes it work for you?
Blake Henderson, all the members at Tombstone Motorsports. Big thank you to my teammates and shout out to my friend Luna. Shout out to them. That's about it. I don't really have much else to say.
Rudy Valentine walking away with a big win. And as Kevin said, arguably one of the most entertaining diecasts ever for the night. We will see you, I'm sure, again at some road courses later on this year. So, Kevin, what else is there left to say? We saw a race with a lot of up and downs, a lot of drama, night in and night out. But at the end of the night, the best driver won.
I mean, yeah, obviously you could say Rudy was definitely one of the strongest three in the field, and obviously when we're going over our pre-race kind of odds, we had them pegged to be definitely a threat, and hey, they had to work for it. They had to go from the back to the front again after that mistake in stage 2, but they made it work. You gotta tip your hat to them, and hopefully we'll see them at another road course down the line. But on that though, road courses, obviously some drivers are just glad we're getting out of here. Some are happy with the positions they had. Others hoping to kind of say, all right, that was a bad week. Let's use more of the upcoming weekend off to kind of get ourselves geared back up for the next half of the season, because after this break off, we go a long way into, we basically keep going and going and going till the playoffs happen. So they better enjoy this break off and use this opportunity to get recycled, re-geared for the long stretch ahead. Because if you have any mistakes and you didn't like how your opening half of the season started, this is your good chance to get yourself re-geared and retooled and make the second half of your season your prize.
So we will take next week off. Hope everybody has a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. The next time you'll see us here on ABN1 is Monday, June 3rd, when the drivers of the HTL Cup Series go to the Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After the 500, who's going to walk away kissing the bricks? We'll find out when we get there on June 3rd, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABN1. On behalf of my entire broadcast team, Kevin Young, my partner in crime, Kristina Ryan, the lady who makes all of us look good, my name is Joe Cortez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you back here on the track June 3rd. Good night, everybody.